Here we are. If it matters for you, I'm gonna, I guess, do Barles in the blue. And Heart in the red.
Yeah, that makes sense. Barles always plays 6, and that's purple and
That's
really weird.
Horrible. Yeah. So
people hate that.
Round the 12, we've got Stranded. Barles is playing as the Chinese. Heart is playing as the Malians. The change to this map, beyond just the 9 villager start, which this entire tournament is that they added the junk. So if you look real closely, their junk is going to touch each other in the north.
Oh, touching tips.
Touching tips. And the junk is a trade ship that brings you a lot of gold. So I think it's like...
Okay, Tristan, I play this game. Shut up for a sec. Sorry.
You're guessing the amount of gold? Is that the game?
186.
182.
Amateur hour, dude. Amateur hour. Actually.
I'm going one. What did I say? 182.
182, yeah. I'm 186.
It should be the same for both. Watch it be 184.
That would be crazy if it was.
Well, Heart has
194! Oh, no, 194, dude.
Damn.
Heart went right past the dock from Barles, and that's something is going to have to get figured out. Usually they can get, like, 2 trips from this junk, and that means, as I'm sure you'll explain, it means that they don't really have to go out to gold early, so they can make archers and navy really, really quickly on this map now.
I think if the junk wasn't there, we'd still see people walking over to the gold, right? So you could protect that. But yeah, people want the TCs up as quickly as possible. But even with the junk change, which only changes the early game, this map has delivered some amazing games. It's just so difficult to get the balance right on if you protect or attack water and if you protect the land in the middle, because that's where most of the wood is. So I think the Chinese is a superior civ, but Malians could be super solid too.
Yeah, Chinese will get the early start lead, but from what I've seen on this map, like Malians should be favored. Malians should definitely be favored here, just because it's less about the early eco that you get, and it's all about that early pressure, and Malians can just plop down a barracks, an archer range, a blacksmith, maybe a second range really quick, and they can keep the naval pressure coming out. And with the faster men-at-arms, having that extra pierce armor is actually really nice on the men-at-arms early. And then you get into Castle Age, and you're just kind of like, if you're playing as Chinese, you're hoping that you've held on to that eco advantage from the early game, because the Malian pressure is going to come in really, really quickly, and it's going to be really tough to stop. Now, Heart has actually come out really far forward with this barracks, and there's not an optimal wood line set up on the middle for forward pressure. There's like this one big line of wood through the middle there that's kind of making him go around the outside, so his timing might be a little bit off on this one.
Well, there's also no scout too, right? So without the scout, you don't necessarily know what the pathing looks like and where to go. But I like the fact, even though this wood line's kind of nasty, I like the fact he's on the hill instead of below the hill.
Yep.
And you build up in front. It really affects your approach in terms of how you are aggressive. But I also like the fact on the other side that you have Barles doing a similar thing. And I think Barles may also go for man-at-arms, which you don't normally think of with Chinese, but with all the food you can get on this map and the fish and the free gold with the junk, it's pretty solid.
I think it's like, it's a different kind of perspective on his men-at-arms too, because normally you do it to apply pressure and then you go for the archers behind. He might be going for those just to stop the men-at-arms from Heart.
Yeah. Yeah, because
like,
it's the first thing you thought of, right? That's the first thing you thought of. So I think it's a very natural conclusion to come to. And the big thing as well is who is going to invest into water. Because if you go one dock to go fast archery range, you're not only going to lose your fish, but you could also lose out on the gold from trading with the junk.
You got to go 2. You got to go 2, and you got to kill the junk. That's like #1 priority for the water here. Killing the fish is actually less important than killing that junk early, because it's just so many resources coming in from that.
Yeah.
And as long as you kill the junk, you can always get back on water early, as long as you're like protecting your fish somewhat. Militia now, 4 of them from the Chinese versus 4 militia from Heart with the Malians, but men-at-arms is coming in. he's going to have to find himself a hill to sit on because Barles took a really good engagement early.
Ooh, I wonder if we see Man-at-Arms canceled here from Hart, because you're losing the fight. You only have 2 units left.
You make more even. You just keep making them.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind that. Hart trying to build the range. He got attacked by 1 tiger. The other tiger's there now. But overall, I think Hart will be pretty happy with that. It was a little awkward at the start. Clears that up. Another Man-at-Arms on the way. And tiger is trapped, actually. Wait, that means the tiger's attacking the weak Vil. That means that villager's going to die.
No, I mean, the
Right?
tiger's not going to be able to get out, dude. It's blocked in completely by the archer range.
Oh, I didn't see the tree.
room.
I didn't see the tree. Okay. My bad.
Just wait until an archer pops out there and it has to take a 1v1 against the tiger.
Yeah, wait until
I would
he
not
tries
want to be
to
in that
set
situation.
he tries to send archers to the south, and then the unit hops out there.
Yeah, he's
It'll
gonna have to
happen.
climb in that little pot and hide.
Well, I think they've both gone for the same builds here. We got double dock from Hart making some fires. We've got the double dock from Barles making fires. And they both have a range. So really even openings from both of them.
Yeah, and when you think about a map like this, you definitely think about a player like Hart, who's always going to go for that early infantry pressure, followed by archers behind that. Barles can do it too, but that's iconic Hart gameplay on something like this, where it's a really tight build. And then you have the range units following up immediately after. And those men-at-arms with the Pierce armor, absolutely going to eat through that house with downhill hits. And the skirmishers are behind. So Barles really needs to respect this, and he needs to keep all of his army at home initially.
And it makes it a little bit tougher to focus on the water. So eventually you'll see 4 or 5 fires, and that's where if you've underproduced on water, you could be punished. But for now, lots of land presence and focus. And Barles goes for a tower, but that is not a tower that protects the gold.
No, but it's probably a necessary tower because he's just making archers at the moment. But now Hart sees that, goes all the way around. Meanwhile, Hart is actually taking out Barles' junk. Barles might get home in time with that junk, but Hart's junk on the other side completely uncontested.
This is exactly what Hart is going to want every single game in this series, is Feudal Age Aggression, where Barles has to try and match him. If Barles is trying to match Hart today, I really don't think that Barles is going to do well. Hart is one of the best players when they're going for the same build.
The junk got away. Junk from Barles got away, and considering he has nothing on gold, that 200 gold that he's bringing back is going to be really nice.
Yeah, it's crazy how
really nice. That could actually propel him to Castle Age.
Crazy how much that changes the map. Like that is the reason that so many things are possible now for Barles. Nice shot from Hart. I also got to say, nice patience from Barles. He just pulls away from the gold. He doesn't take unnecessary losses, and he's got the other gold to go to, right to the north of that.
Well, I mean, that's something that could be said about a lot of Barles games, the patience, right? He waits. He makes sure he has enough before he takes the fights, and sometimes he gets overwhelmed, but a lot of the times you're just sitting there and you're thinking, what can he do? And then suddenly he shows up with enough units to clear everything. So he's really, really good at that. However, Hart with a fantastic setup, despite the fact that Barles is up to Castle Age. The villagers around the TC going to have to run back again. A lot of idle time there. The archer army not super impressive. And look at the Navy pushing forward from Hart. I mean, this is just insane. There's just so many units on the field from Hart right now.
To click up the castle, Barles had to stall every production building. Every one.
Yeah.
And Hart has produced out of every one. The range, I guess maybe not the barracks, but his investment is amazing. And I think now we're seeing what Barles maybe could have done moments ago. His archers at least offered him no benefit defensively. And now he'll try a counterattack. But Hart's kind of walled up a little bit. And that's not easy to do. Like, a lot of people don't even think walls are possible on this map. So well played from Hart, who killed a Vil on the golds. And now he's got the fire ships moving in on the water. And he could click up to Castle Age himself here pretty shortly.
And like I said earlier, when you're in Castle Age against Malians with Chinese, you're hoping that you've retained that early eco lead, basically, or you're hoping you have a huge timing advantage. The timing advantage is going to be there for Barles, but I don't know what he can really do with it. You look at the army forward, it's 4 skirms and an archer. You look at the resources, he can't really go into knights or anything like that.
Yep.
It's going to be really tough for him to do any damage with this timing to Castle Age. And now a villager sniped by Hart at the back of Barles' base. And the stable isn't even up from Barles, so he can't even make the knights right away.
It's just painful how this game is collapsing in on Barles right now, and he can't find the recovery. Beautiful play from Hart, though, has to be said. Like, ever since that first engagement, he's been following up. Look at the save in the left corner.
The archers, no! The archers and the tiger! Oh, he's already killed a skirmisher, dude!
Oh, oh, so that did happen. Tiger's going to work. But now more units from Hart on water and also on land. Is the tiger still feasting? Tiger's dead.
He killed 2 skirms, and they couldn't fight back.
That's so annoying,
also,
though.
The junk from Hart saved with 206 gold at 2 HP.
Yikes, that's bad for Barles. I mean, eventually, if Hart wins water, he's going to take out the docks anyways. In theory, you should probably try and keep the docks up so you can trade with it. But the res collected used to be like 300 to 500 ahead for Barles. 1,000 ahead now for Hart. He just has to hold right now.
Nice. It scales real nice here, and now Hart's finding the remainder of the fish from Barles, and Barles is like, okay, if I want to keep contesting water, I got to get War Galley. But then you look at your res and you're thinking, there's no way I can get War Galley here.
Yep.
I need to keep myself alive on land. If you look at the res from Hart, it looks fantastic. And he still has the fish, and he's going to have a market, so he can use that 700 gold to maybe buy food if he needs it too.
He's also got a nice little spot on that hill. He could put a nice TC near the stables. And there he goes with his own knights. The only thing I'd say for Hart is he now needs the patience. There are 4 knights for Barles, so Hart just needs to wall out any of this pressure until he matches the numbers. But great position for him. Has essentially won water. I think Barles should just give up there now and focus on land.
I mean, if Barles gives up water, though, Hart doesn't have to invest in the War Galley. He doesn't have to worry about any of that investment whatsoever, so he can just put it all into land. As now Barles pushes in with the knights, and Hart was only making that TC with 1 villager.
Yeah.
But he does have knights of his own. He's got double stable production. Bloodlines is in. First armor upgrade is in. He should be able to chase this away.
Yep, nice job. Even if he loses a villager or 2, who cares? You've got the fish. You just need to make sure you don't lose everything. The knight chases away the ranged units. The knights from Barles kind of get trapped so they can't run around. And Barles does clear up a lot of the skirms from Hart. So that was a good engagement right to the left there. Little trail of tears, but 14 on food against 5. And that's significant.
Another junk trip. This thing is surviving on 2 HP. That's some serious value.
206 gold, too.
And now he pulls it back. No, he drag selected. He pulled the junk back.
Yeah, I think he'll click the dock and it'll just go back home. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the one unit you can rely on in these situations, if your Barles, is monks, because you don't have the food eco and you could just put everything on gold. But he's so late with the monastery, it feels like he's kind of stuck in this position, waiting. And the longer he waits, the better the eco looks for Hart. I mean, he's farming away too.
Hart's going to discover the second town center from Barles over on the right side. So that's like instant siege workshop, mangonel pressure there. And there's nothing Barles can do about that. As long as you have your knight army to protect and your monks to protect your siege,
dude, Hart is
literally nothing Barles can do.
Hart is locked in, man. He's pulling the weak knights back to that monk. He dives underneath the tower. He doesn't respect it at all. Now he'll just go kill this monk. I mean, who cares if he loses a knight? From his perspective, Barles doesn't have a lot of gold income, so he can't continue this cycle. It's really smooth, and I don't know about you. We didn't have time to talk about it. I know Barles has played well. I think the big series everyone got excited about was when he almost beat Hera in the first round. But at this stage of the tournament, I expect Hart to be the favorite, just because of his level being extremely high.
Yeah, I think Hart should definitely be the favorite at all times against Barles. And there's the GG right there. Unless we're talking about some arena tournament or something, but on this format, most of the maps are going to be pretty open. Most of the maps are going to be pretty aggressive. And on a map like Stranded, Hart is going to take the victory more times than not against most of the other people in the field. So really solid job from Hart. Never in doubt that entire game.
It was
I
so
love the
good.
fact he went out and set up those walls early too. Like this base layout from Hart takes advantage of those wood lines that clog up the center. There's a lot more wood here than there normally is on this Stranded generation. And he just identified that early, and he took advantage of that completely.
And that happens when you played a lot of games, and I would expect a lot of practice games. Typically, Hart and Leary are playing a lot of games and being prepped. I think Hera's normally in that conversation, that trio of players usually working together there. So, yeah, well played. Now, long series, hopefully Barles can turn it around. But, yeah, it's got to be something less aggressive early feudal, I think, for Barles to have chances here, because he played well. You can't compete with that.
Okay, so Basmo, I need to fix my draft now that you've reminded me. Basmo has 2 separate arena areas for each player. The first arena has gold and berries and a few deer and some boars and some straggler trees. The second one has the majority of the wood, at least like the big clump of wood, but you have to cut through that wood to get to the stone. Now, the interesting thing on this map is that we've seen a lot of different attempts to try and shut down that wood, like feudal age tower rushes. We've seen people just, eat that damage from the feudal age tower rush and buy a castle and go into really powerful unique units. I've seen other people go 3 monastery in the center to try and control with a fast castle. So there's high strategy variance. All of it is generally centered around trying to take out your opponent's wood area, because the main area has value early, but later on in the game, it doesn't really retain that value, right? It's just a place to put farms.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good map because there's so much variety in what you can do. And I can't help but feel like Hart has come in here having a good sense of what he thinks Barles is going to do. We're in the round of 12 now. Barles probably played it a certain way. Now, normally, I can memorize the games and I could tell you exactly what happened, but I was sick/traveling. So do you remember if Barles went for unique units here before and went for the stone? Because I have no clue.
I saw so many throughout the qualifiers and everything on this map. I've seen people go wagons with Bohemians.
Yeah.
And I've seen people also go for the monk strategy with Bohemians.
Okay.
I don't recall anyone going for Tower Rush with them. But yeah, the funniest one I saw on this map, I think it was Sato. He didn't go out and lumber camp that area and try and chop through the stone at all. He made the lumber camp on a clump of wood near his base.
Okay.
And Vivi, I think he was against, went Teutons and fully tower rushed the area, got through, and then realized Sato wasn't there.
That's so funny, dude.
And then
That's so funny.
Sato was playing, I think he was playing Bengalis, and he wanted to get into Ratha. So what did he do? Instead of, trying to chop through and mining the stone, he just straight up bought himself like 700 stone, because he went for a tower to defend himself as well.
Yeah.
So he just straight up bought it, and then he went into Ratha, bought all the resources for those, and killed Vivi.
Pretty smart, honestly. Really smart from Sato. Obviously, he's still in the main event. He'll be in the quarterfinals, so kind of expected that he'd have a good approach. Now, what do we got here? We got Hart moving out. I saw the one Vil on gold. He's sending a bunch more to wood.
Tower rush.
This feels
tower
like
rush from Hart.
Feels like Tower Archer, though, if you're going to have the villager on gold. And Barles is going up so fast that this is either the tightest fast castle build that's possible or some type of a feudal age play. But I think, if anything, he might need to respect this little tower play and deviate, because I don't see how he's going to be able to get to castle age if he's getting pressured.
I mean, he still needs to get loom. He might be able to find the food, maybe.
Yeah.
If he makes some more. No, this can't be. This has to be just a slower feudal age to adapt to whatever Hart's doing. And there's the barracks from Hart. So it's going to be towers and archers from the Burmese. Not usually a unit you see from Burmese, but when it accompanies towers, it's not so bad. Barles is trying to chop his way through as quickly as possible to this area. so he can get his villagers safe, start mining the stone, and then make a defensive tower over there.
He's got 30 wood left on that. This could actually get kind of hairy because he doesn't have loom. And loom is queued behind an additional vill.
He's already chopped his way through, though, so he can get in there.
Okay. Yeah, he will. Oh, he's through on that tree. I see.
Yep.
All right, well, builds a tower, obviously expecting that Hart will break through. I think if Hart can get fletching, those towers might range each other. I'm not going to turn the range mod on because that's cheating, and it also looks horrible.
And ugly.
Yeah, I mean,
it is, dude.
Still kind of pisses me off they added that to the game, but whatever.
I love how we share the same opinion on that.
Yeah.
Every time someone asks me, like, why don't you have the range mod? Number one, it's ugly. Number two, it's cheating.
It's cheating, exactly. Back in our day, we used to walk uphill both ways to know how far the towers were from each other, but...
Exactly.
We're being sarcastic with the cheating, by the way. We're not saying it's actually cheating.
No, we're not. It is.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm being sarcastic. But Barles is going to make it to the castle age somehow. Don't ask me how. He's about to run out of all food underneath his TC. But this
is what I'm talking about here, though. If you have a strong castle age unit and your opponent tower rushes, it doesn't really matter how much damage they do to you early. As soon as you have 2 of those, plus a castle defending your base, you're set.
Dude, but...
Like, you're absolutely set. Then you can go into a second TC and start catching up on eco and whatnot.
I mean, he needs a market, and he's chopping straggler trees pretty fast here to get that market, because that's not just the stone area, that's the wood area. Oh. And another tower now from Hart. He's through. And the archers, once fletching is in, will provide arrows to these towers to shoot down that tower and pressure the stone. I kind of feel like Barles needs to be in Castle Age very quickly here. And I like the way the eco is going to look for Hart behind this. He's Burmese, so he has the wood. Upgrade in. He could take that no problem. He could take his berries. He could take his stone. This is a lot of pressure right now.
This is not enough damage. I've seen this many times with the tower rush. This is not enough damage yet. It's not even close to enough damage.
Is it not risky to walk back there? Like, what's going on?
He goes back there to make a tower. This is the standard approach with the tower rush, right? So you're trying to cut off the stone, because Barles will try and like hide as long as possible. And the tower back there can almost range those vills. So Barles has to go for another tower just to counter that.
Yeah, okay. Well, it's not going to be a castle for Barles. He can't do that because he has to invest in the stone. Unless he does what Sato did and he sends everything on gold and buys it.
Yeah, you just don't listen, bro. I had the same thoughts when I first started watching this map, okay? Just be ready. Just be ready for anything. There's a reason this is one of my favorites in the tournament.
The lack of efficiency with anything Barles is doing right now really bothers me. He needs to sort that out, but I guess he can build a lumber camp there. That's fine. And that's probably close to a hill he's going to want to control anyways. But he's not mining stone because he has to fight the tower war.
He bought 100 food as well. So he did buy another 100 stone, but...
Hart sees the wood line. He's bringing archers over now.
This is a disaster for Barles, dude. He should have just stayed in his lane, in his own little base. He's gone for another tower there, so I guess this will be... monks? If you can manage it? I don't know what he does with the Castle Age, with no wood and no stone.
Yeah. I will say this, only 2 farms for Hart. He is actually taking the additional berries on the outside, which is pretty well thought out. Again, very clear to me that Hart's put a lot of time into prepping for this. I guess a siege workshop would be the normal play if you're Barles to push the towers, but how do you get there?
It's monks. Yeah, it's monks.
Okay.
He can hang out near this tower and garrison his monk in that tower, and that's a sick tower from Hart. That's a really nice one behind that wood line. So Barles has like no eco whatsoever. We've been over this, right? Like the resources are not there for him. And he invested 100 wood into that lumber camp, then stone and wood into the tower, and then wood into the monastery. And if that tower goes up from Hart, you're kind of shutting all of that stuff down.
Dude, this is... I just really impressed with Hart and how he's performed here so far. And the longer he holds, the worse this gets for Barles, because Barles has 0 on food. He's just buying food for the time being. And now those 4 villagers near the stone and the wood, they're gonna die.
Hart is keeping track of that perfectly. Like he was garrisoning, ungarrisoning the villagers in the tower over there, which was fantastic. Now he notices the tower is about to go down, so he comes in with the archers. He's going to kill those villagers. Sanctity is on the way for Barles, and Barles is just nothing to do. Absolutely nothing to do about these villagers over here. They're going to die.
I actually think Hart should go stable. Oh, he's doing it. Wow, he's so locked right now. Dude, he's locked. Yeah, stay in Feudal Age, and you just win the game with scouts. What was Barles doing trying to get that relic, by the way? That was never going to happen. He loses that monk.
Honestly, if... Oh, there's a TC there for Barles, so he's just going to try and boom up, I suppose. He's done a decent job keeping his town center running, all things considered, but
yeah.
Honestly, for Barles, I think the best play there would have been to sell absolutely everything and just try and buy a castle.
Yeah, stay in your base.
On the way up to castle.
Stay in your base on the gold and just buy the castle, yeah. Because at least then you have some units. You have some protection. But I'm really impressed with Hart. I think this is a confidence matchup for Hart. I think he looks at Barles and says he should beat him. And clearly had a prep strat as well. Like, Burmese is not a common pick for a player like Hart. Archers.
Another tower from Hart. Oh, boy. Archers lighting up like a Christmas tree here from the conversions. He gets a couple of them. He's going to try and out-heal the damage from this, but the archers come in, and those monks are expensive, Tristan. Those are so expensive for Barles at the moment, as Hart will just go for another tower behind this.
This one might not happen. There's 2 archers and there's monks from Barles.
But there's scouts coming out. There's scouts coming out from Hart.
Oh, man. The scouts are coming from a long way away, but they'll get here eventually. Kind of funny that Hart's going for armor, because his opponent has 2 archers now, and now 3 archers. And the tower's kind of going down. It's only 1 scout from Hart, and he doesn't have armor yet.
Huge.
I think Barles is staying alive here, and Barles could get a couple Vil picks as well.
Yeah, and Hart is a very long way away from Castle Age. Hart finishes that tower, but for what?
Yeah.
It goes up and immediately goes down again. And now, this is what I'm talking about with this map. Like, you gotta do, if you tower rush, even if your opponent looks like they're in a disastrous position, you have to do so much damage. So much damage, because now it's Barles that has the Castle Age units, and Barles that has the map control, and Hart is sitting at home making scouts. Every scout he makes is going to delay him further and further away.
Barles has had 0 on food for like almost 10 minutes. I haven't been able to count. But he could still make monks. And he has those 3 archers, which help. And he's got 2 TCs. It would be very frustrating for me if I were in Hart's position and I lost this game. Like, the last 3 minutes just looked so painful for him. I think these scouts are getting converted.
Here from Hart.
One of them will get converted. It won't get converted. Wow.
Whoa. Holy cow. Feels like that timer was running for a very long time in those scouts. The monks are still chasing, so they're still targeted. So Hart needs to be careful about that and run away. Meanwhile, on the other side, Barles also converting villagers from Hart. That could be one way back in terms of the villager count. Just convert them back. And he's grabbing the relics, man.
You know what's going to be kind of interesting? And we'll see if how many relics he can get, because the scouts are still going to be out. I think that Barles might actually like run out of gold, weirdly enough, at a certain stage. Barles,
there is a gold behind his base, and that's what he's taking long distance to the mining camp, I suppose.
Yeah, like that gold's there, but I wonder if he's going to see the others. He probably should know the map and know that's there. Barles, I think, making the incorrect call to push that tower. There's 2 towers perfectly spaced next to each other, and there's still scouts patrolling around for Hart, who needs to click up. He's got to get to Castle Age somehow.
Still hasn't noticed the long distance mining.
Look at how...
Go for a TC out there for sure.
Look at how many farms Hart has. When he makes it to Castle Age, he's going to have 1,000 food.
And he's also on stone too, so he could go for a castle too.
Yeah. Nice shot from Barles though. 8 on food. 2 TCs. Bill count will probably end up being around even once they both make it, once they're both in the Castle Age. And finally, a barracks for Barles. I think it's about time. You've seen the scouts. You know more will come. You need more than just monks. Crazy game.
Good exploration on the outside too. Hart pulled away the 1 HP scout. This is something that so few players do, but everyone should. Like, if you have a 1 HP scout, what realistic value is that getting you? Not really that much in a fight other than intimidation factor. And he's looking around for the extra resources. So valuable on this map. You know they're out there, but it's way easier to expand and plan your base when you actually know exactly where the gold mines are. Not that they're just theoretically are gold.
Is he
around on the edges.
Is he pre-positioning them next to those golds? So if Barles goes there, he knows? It almost feels like that's what he's doing.
Yeah, maybe.
He'll drop a tower. Not a tower you want to place if you're Hart, but that's just the safe move. You know you have a nice eco, and that's a really valuable area. And that's where he wants his TCs to go, which Barles can't do because of the presence of those towers.
Also, these scouts are just kind of hoovering around. As soon as they get up to light cav, Barles is going to have some serious issues with keeping his monks alive. There's a lot of monks here, dude. And all it takes is a few very long conversions to change this game around. I can't agree with Hart continuing to, you know, play Russian roulette with these conversion timings.
I think once he snags Devotion and Husbandry, though, it gets twice as hard for the opponent. But yeah, he does lose his scout. Maybe. And Vil counts even. 10 seconds away from Castle Age is Hart. Barles, 3 TCs actually, with a lot of farms. And the potential to go Pikeman, though he's not quite there yet. Now, Hart, you don't want to fight yet. You just hit Castle Age.
Yep, and the houses are trying to come out from Barles. Does he get another one to block the scouts? Good job from Hart to dip back the other way, because he saw those houses coming up, and he still has only gotten 1 scout converted this game.
Devotion right away for Hart. Smart. And Barles really needs the Pikeman upgrade. He's getting Devotion, or sorry, Redemption. I guess just to convert the buildings, maybe. But the Light Cav are probably going to be swooping in at some point here soon. Hart's still 450 stone, dude. If he wins a fight, it could lead to a castle.
Gotta be careful with these archers. You have the towers to back up to, but that's a lot of monks. That is a ton of monks from Barles, and you know Barles has all of those on a separate control group.
Just, Barles has quite the eco setup where he probably can focus on his monks and produce villagers at the same time. It's not easy to get there.
Maybe. Oh, one side light cav, the other side crossbows. The key for Hart here is don't let the monks charge up against the crossbows and then switch over to your light cav. You're almost fine if he converts your crossbows and then you come in and snipe with the light cav, but at the moment, Hart's still looking for a good engagement. There's spearmen here. He's got to dip back the other way again.
And crossbows are coming to the hill. The crossbows will go for the spears. They're not pikes yet. And there's the engagement. The light cav could kill everything. Hart is actually focusing down the monks with the crossbows and not the spears, which I don't think is the correct play there. I think you need to take the spears and then the light cav will kill the monks.
Yep.
So that
I think
could have been better.
He forgot about the monk healing. The monk healing helped a lot in that fight for Barles.
Oh man, he also
if they weren't healing each other,
kills.
then he would have sniped everything. But now Barles is coming forward with some villagers and some monks and some light cav. Doesn't have enough stone for a castle. Could think about maybe buying himself a castle straight up. He's actually sending villagers over to the towers, so he wants to get back on the stone again.
That's a good move. That's a really good move. And that, I mean, that's the only place you can get stone, right? So it's something he has to do. More like have swooping in from Hart, but he just doesn't have the numbers, so he has to run away there. And these crossbows that are defending the tower, they're going to get sniped by the light cav and the scout. And Barles, 10 villager lead, excuse me, and he should be able to get stone finally.
Dude, this is like every game on this map that has a tower rush, it ends up like this, where one player is so far in front in Feudal Age, and then you think it's over, and the other guy manages to crawl his way back in.
There is still that tower behind the stone, though, so it's going to take Barles some time to truly be on it. But he just bought some stone. Okay, he just bought a castle, and is dropping it in the middle. And, I mean, I thought he was dead. And somehow, kind of like you said, Barles in the game.
And Hart comes in with the light cav. He does have devotion. Light cav have resistance to monks, but that's a long time for conversions to come in. as he's got a tome and he's trying to convert the monks from Barles, but Barles doesn't care. The
Wow.
castle's going to go up. The monks are going to go down. Barles has the lead here. Barles is cooking right now.
I feel like
79 villagers.
Barles has got more value from the light cav and the crossbows he's converted from Hart than Hart ever did with any of his own armies. Like, the two original archers are still there with those crossbows. The light cav there just killed a bunch of monks. Like, this is just unreal value.
Hart almost needed to, like, as soon as he went Castle Age, he almost needed to send a bunch of villagers forward, have the light cav to push the monks away while there were still a few of them, and make a castle of his own in the center.
He needed to win that fight.
Stone.
That fight we saw where he used the crossbows on the monks. If he wins that fight, he probably does build the castle there. But he was never able to get a good engagement. The 8 crossbows were attacking monks that were healing each other instead of the spears. And full credit to Barles, though. This looked like such a bad position. It didn't feel like it was worth the risk to play as greedy as he has. But now, he's about to click up to the Imperial Age. Like, what?
This is the slow cook from Barles. This is why you make stew in a slow cooker and not a toaster, right? Because...
Wait, I've been doing it wrong this whole time?
Yeah, that's why your toast is all caked up.
No wonder my toast tastes weird. What in the world? Yeah, I mean, Hart is going to try what he could do from here. Like having different groups. This is kind of the game he wanted. I don't think he really wanted to have to use the crossbows in Castle Age. But he's going to need to find an imp timing himself. And need to find a castle position. You have to think really hard on where you place a castle when your opponent's got the central hill.
I don't even know how you even approach the castle position here for Hart. Like, in between those two TCs, maybe?
Yeah, I have no answers. There's not a single castle that makes sense.
No.
Except for maybe, like, a super defensive one, just so you can get conscription. And against Bohemians...
Or maybe you could make it wild and try and sneak a forward castle around the side, but that dies.
Yeah,
so
it gets spotted. Yeah. I'm kind of stunned. I'm a little bit speechless at just how good Barles has played this game. And it came down to a couple key engagements and what he was able to do with Castle Age. Getting the relics and dropping the TCs super quick. And Hart kind of out of ideas right now.
Maybe the thought process for him, instead of going for that castle like we thought, buying it early in Castle Age, was just like, I need to just survive. Because Hart is going to be so late to Castle Age because of the tower rush. I've tried this myself, maybe in practice games. I know how much it hurts my eco. That I can just catch up as long as I get a second town center up. So the towers were for defense, and now, this is just insulting, dude. The crossbows at the back, the converted crossbow army.
All of it's converted.
In there too.
Literally all
So
converted
annoying.
units. Like, the light cav, the crossbows, the archer, all converted units. Raiding, and Hart, I think, saw him from Barles as well and said, yeah, I've got to tap out of this one. What a game from Barles. Impressive. Yeah. And he needed that one. This is probably the best map for him.
Did you see the desperation from Hart with the forward castle? That was the only place he could come up with a castle that seemed reasonable.
And it's like...
The one over on the left side.
It doesn't really...
It's so bad, too.
It doesn't really deny the stone. Yeah. That's probably the best idea he could have had, but well played. I think what Hart will regret... He might regret adding the Scouts and Feudal. I thought the Scouts and Feudal were fine, but he took a poor engagement with the tower, losing those 3 vills, and his archers. I think if he had pulled back his archers, instead of engaging against a couple monks, waited till he had just 2 scouts, and then built the tower, Barles can never take the tower down. He can't take the fights, and maybe things are a bit better. Also, the engagement in Castle Age was horrible for Hart. You never use the crossbows against the monks there.
It's going to be Immersion, which is a really fun map. One of the best, my favorite maps of this tournament, to be fair, and I hope we see it in future tournaments as well.
It's a really good hybrid map. It's a good hybrid map. It's exactly what you want. You want the potential for people to play out in different ways, have different builds, and for lots of scouting and adaptation. So.
Also, the late game on this, I don't know if you caught it, but the Barles versus Nikov double comeback in a row.
I did not see that game.
So it was Land Madness. Nikov had Magyars fully boomed on Land Madness with full upgrades, everything. And it was against Georgians. And Barles towered his way back in from a tiny little corner.
Oh, okay.
And then the next game was on Immersion. And I think it was like Armenians for Nikov, but it was Japanese for Barles. And Nikov had him in a corner, and Barles towered back in to the game 2 games in a row.
Was that when you messaged me and said, poor Nikov?
Yeah, I think so.
I think you messaged me, you're like, poor Nikov, did you see the game? So I agree with what you said before. I really like the map. I think it's a good hybrid map. If there was one thing that players always have to look to, because occasionally I think it can be kind of lopsided, it's the golds. And I'm just saying this because I'm looking at Hart's situation right now. He's not far away from the enemy, and these golds are super far forward. And I think what's supposed to be his third gold is the one that's like in the middle.
In the middle of the map, yeah, over there.
So that's not great. In fact, I sometimes think golds just straight up don't generate. Like, there's a neutral gold with 3 tiles on the left, but where's the other neutral gold? Is it the 4-tile one? I don't know. So
I gotta ask you a question, because I've seen it more often in these Warlord games, and I wonder if it was just the map script, the way the deer spawn. But I've seen so many players doing the double deer push now. Is that something that's become more common in your experience?
The double deer push is... I was surprised that more people didn't do it, especially on hybrid maps, because you need that extra period of time to scout. The difficult thing about the double deer push is that you can't... You need a little bit of luck, because sometimes the deer will just line up that way and you can take advantage of it. Sometimes it's really tough to line them up. I
saw Yo like lining them up beforehand and then going to push them in.
You can do it.
You can,
but there are
do
times.
It a little bit.
I don't know if you saw the start to Hart there, but he just ran by it and it was like boom, they're in a line.
Yeah, and it just pushed right in. Yeah.
But yeah, dude, that was Phosphorou. Phosphorou started that crap, and the funny thing was, because during TTL, he was training with some people that were in gold, like Stone Please and whatnot, giving him strats. And he sent me a clip. He said, check this out. This might happen. On Rocky Forest, he used a Vil and a Scout and was like funneling 8 deer in towards the TC. The reason we never saw that is because that's horrible for your economy. And if you do that early, you have idle TC time. But I thought that was ridiculous.
What is this villager doing from Hart? It's running right into the base from Barles.
He's freaking out because the generation's different than what I've seen, and I do not think that he was expecting his opponent to be there. And I think he probably did his homework, and he maybe wanted a forward dock because he knows Barles will be on the back, and Barles is Vikings, which we haven't talked about. And so if there were fire ships directly on the dock from Barles, he'd have an awful time defending that. Did Barles see the Vil?
He should.
How did he not see the Vil?
But there's not really that much he can do about it because his scout is forward. He's scouting the dock from Hart.
Yeah. But shouldn't you send a Vil? If you spot that, send a Vil to track it, maybe?
But the scout is there from Hart. And you assume he's going to probably be up to Feudal Age quite quickly, right? Like, I think it's just better to let it go. This is kind of sloppy from Hart to take a little bit of damage. So Barles is going to feel real good about that one. Getting that scout down to 33 HP as the dock goes up at the back from Hart. He actually he deletes that and goes for a house instead.
Yeah, I think he doesn't want to be late on the range. So he'll probably go for the range at home and then go for the dock, would be my guess. And there he goes. He's Byzantines, so classic matchup here. Very different bonuses at play. Byzantines will want the fires and the skirms. Vikings, their eco is unreal. You don't typically think of them as a hybrid pick, but I think that eventually if you can get to longboats, which ACCM did, and I would guess that ACCM probably practiced with Barles, that can be really strong.
Well, if you, civilizations on this map, right? If you can get a good fast start and have some bonus on your men-at-arms play, it's probably going to be a good civ there you have the extra HP for the men-at-arms from the Vikings, right? Plus you have wheelbarrow and handcart behind that. And then if you have good water techs late, and a good navy late can be really good. And Vikings, longboats and elite cannon galleons in those ponds, going to be absolutely devastating. And if you control all 4 pawns, it doesn't even really matter what your land composition is, which is where Vikings kind of struggle, right? You just go Trebs and Navy.
I think both players are going to be trying to resist building a tower this whole game, right? Heart's got a good reason where you could just build the tower now and be like, okay, I like that, because that gold is horrible. Barles as well, very forward golds. He's got a bit more walling, but still, definitely something to think about. And finally, the man-at-arms are getting attacked by the archer, but Barles will move away. And I think you could argue, even if the man-at-arms don't kill anything, that it's already been worth it because it's forced so many reactions and walls and distracted Heart.
I think this is a double range angle. It's
Double range,
it's going to be so tough. Yeah. Like you see the blacksmith there from Barles, so he's going to go fletching fast. You see the second dock there from Heart, or third dock rather. This time it's on the pond as his fire comes into the back end. But like if you are sitting in Feudal Age for a very long time here and you're on only one range and your opponent adds that second one, you're going to be in a world of hurt like MBL was, right? Yo just pushed him back like crazy on this map with the early 2 range.
Oh, that's a really nice find there from Heart. Kind of what we expected. We talked about it in the first game. He's so good in these scenarios where it's land micro, but I like the patience from Barles. If you get to 6 galleys, you could do really well in Feudal Age against fires, even against Byzantines.
You just need to pay attention.
Which is the tough thing.
Which is tough sometimes. You have one that dock on either side. Very, very difficult. And the land battle in the middle.
Well, that's why Heart should be trying to take engagements at all times. And maybe even synchronize his fire ships moving forward with whatever is happening with the land armies.
It'll be a market from Barles, so no second range. I love the wall off at the front from Barles that he's done. That's fantastic. That buys him a lot of time. Also has wheelbarrows, so if the raids come in, he can actually run away a little bit faster. Something to consider. And, well, he's defending the fish at home, so both players should be able to get up to Castle Age at a reasonable time.
Really like that fight for Barles. Barles killing all the units. I wonder if the pathing maybe affected Heart there. Maybe he thought his units were coming to the left of this pond and not that direction. But if anything, I think he was maybe distracted on the water.
Should have had a demo. Pisk. See, like, here's the situation where if Barles had gone for a second range, Heart would be cooked right now. I'm surprised he didn't go for one.
Yeah. Well, against Byzantines, though, going double range into one range skirms feels really bad. Because they invest less into the army than you. It's super easy for them to save res. I also have to produce a decent amount of galleys. It's tricky. But I'm going to have double range in my mind because what Yo did against MBL was insane.
Yeah, it was so impressive.
Maybe that's a Malian thing, though?
Yeah, I mean, it might be, but he had the wood for it because he made a market and he made the huge wall, right?
Yeah, true. Well, that's Barles. He loves to have the market. And if he didn't go market and stayed standard play, you're right. It would have been doable. Nice tracking here from Heart, but the man-at-arms are still soaking up some shots, giving some potential to Barles, but it's just a couple skirms. Heart's not going to worry about that.
Fires are still harassing at the back, too, and Barles just has to pay constant attention to that. Like, look, he's trying to chase the fire on the right. 2 more come out on the left. Now it's 3. So if he looks away for 1 second to his other army, Heart can just collapse on that. And there's not a lot of fish there. Like, Heart's controlling both sides he's going to expand out to. Castle Age is on the way, though, from Barles. And once you get longboats, it's a lot easier to defend against those fires than just with galleys.
I have no way to confirm this, but I'm 97% certain that Barles and ACCM did training. And what ACCM ended up doing with Vikings, because that's a weird pick. On a hybrid map, we never see galley civs, right? We always see fires. But yeah, he ended up dropping the docks because he knows that dock is there. And that middle area with longboats is going to be so valuable in Castle Age.
It's brutal. And look at the golds for Heart. One of them's within range. This third one is within range.
Yep.
Like,
I like the approach. And I think if you lose your own fish, if you're Barles, it hurts a little bit, but you're Viking eco. So I think you're kind of happy to have not lost your fish early on, and you could just farm away and play in towards TCs.
Like, he's going to have handcart with 9 farms.
This is
And
sick.
he's still got some food coming in from the berries. Like, that's more than enough. More than enough. If you add in 2 extra TCs, you can just keep
And
him running
longboats
for a while.
on the outside can also still be pretty devastating to Hart. He doesn't have a ton of protection back at home. And now no tower or no military at home for Hart, and he is to go for some quick house walls. Good reaction. But if these archers get Bodcanero, this is horrible for Hart.
Really, really bad. And Hart needs to abandon that. And like you said before, like, there's no gold in a safe position.
It's a horrible,
It's all
horrible
forward.
map. Yep. Maybe he should have towered. I think in his mind, he was not expecting Barles to continue to produce archers, so he stopped with skirms. I think Barles is going to take this and run with it, dude. Second TC's on the way already. Longboats are coming in the middle pond soon. Half of the eco for Hart is either building a tower or running to or from a resource.
Overall
And-
worker efficiency is like 10% higher this game from Barles
Yeah.
than Hart.
Last
That
minute.
is an insane amount. And now we have the tower finally, but it's on the wood
and now
line.
now your gold's exposed exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
And now the longboats are through the middle. And for as good as Hart looked in the first game, Barles has looked just as good in this game, which I would say is similar in terms of map style.
And it's not like off the back of any fantastic fights or anything. Like, he won the fight near the pond where Hart was kind of in a bad position, but Barles would have pushed regardless. And it's not like Barles did an insane amount of eco damage either. He just kind of idled some eco.
Yeah.
It's basically just him playing the strat and playing safe. He's got the wall. He's got the Viking eco. He's got the safe fish behind. He can lose his galleys on the outside. Doesn't really care about that. He's losing his fish right now. But as long as he gets to Castle Age and sets up his economy and has the longboats in the center, he's going to be feeling very comfortable.
Now, this
18
is
villagers in the queue, by the way. Classic Vikings.
this is an opportunity though for Hart to recover economically because he won't have the eco of the Vikings, but he does have the outside water. So I think
Yep.
even 2 additional docks on the outside right now, getting up to 15, 16 fishing ships could be good. And then once he sees that Barles is on TCs, he needs to siege push through the middle. But again, how can you if the threat of longboats are always going to be there? It's really
can't.
complicated to push.
You got to castle first or dock and try and push those longboats off. But it's really, really tough with those on the water. And you can see Barles making another dock on the pond in the north. He'll probably make another one on the pond over there to the right.
Yeah.
He is being harassed a little bit by knights, so it is kind of annoying, but TCs are churning out villagers. Still 13 villagers in the queue with 8 on food currently. Just Vikings things.
Yeah, Vikings are unbelievable. I just wouldn't have thought that Vikings would be great because of the lack of fires. But when you add in these middle ponds, they're unbelievable. And again, we need to stress this. Hart's golds are pretty much all rangeable from the middle pond. At starting golds, he's fine. But the other golds are all exposed. And he has no real way of combating these ships with land units.
I do think the thing Hart has going for him is that he is Byzantines against Vikings. So if you find a way to take the water out of the equation somehow in the center, or you take control of the water in some way, your land texture is going to be far superior. So
Yeah.
it's not the end of the world here with this Civ matchup, even if Barles has control of that one pond. You just have to make sure he doesn't have control of all 4 ponds.
And if you do the same thing to Barles, this could also be awkward for Barles. Look at the right side of the eco for Barles. 2 golds.
Yep.
But Hart doesn't have vision on that. He didn't scout it, and I guess he hasn't thought to really look for it. So again, I wouldn't mind a siege workshop, maybe near where his skirms and his knights are. But maybe when his army loops to the right side, he'll notice that that is an opportunity to
this.
push.
I like this from Barles. He's got a longboat protecting that pond in the north. Hart's trying to redock. Hart has a fire ship protecting the pond to the left,
Yep.
and Barles is trying to dock there.
Yeah, both players doing
So
that.
they both realize the importance of these ponds.
You know, my worry for Barles, I'm not seeing him spend his res quite as quickly as it's coming in, which of course is tough with Vikings. And some of these details, like 3 villagers going forward, I feel like, I know it's 3 villagers out of 80 at this point, but It could start to get a little sloppy. He needs some army control to feel comfortable.
They have handcart.
Yeah, I guess only one dies, so that's fine.
Second relic also coming in from Barles. And he could get the relic in the center, too. I think there's 6 relics on this map, right?
I have no clue. But yeah, it seems like that could be the case. I want to see Barles TC these golds to the right of his eco. And also, the best unit for him right now with this eco might be a couple knights. 4 of his own knights would be really good.
I mean, look at the skirms and the knight at the back.
Yeah.
You gotta, I mean, you could always convert the knights.
True. Unless the skirms come in. And Hart gets the kill. There's another monk there as well. He's going to kill. The knight is now there.
Ah, he killed his own monk. No. Feels bad.
You could tell Hart's starting to cook a little bit, right?
Uh-oh, crossbows on the gold. Crossbows on the gold. Uh-oh, Hart was beginning to cook, and now he's getting absolutely cooked. He is just fortunate that happened 6 seconds before ballistics came in.
True.
Because he would have lost so many villagers on that area, but still, he's cut off of that gold. He has no gold, Tristan.
Yeah,
he can't take any of it.
It's horrible. I mean, thankfully, he just needs skirms, pretty much. And he does have... he doesn't really have enough upgrades on the skirms, and he doesn't have the numbers just yet. But I really...
No second armor upgrade hurts.
I really feel for him. But he did take some of control of that pond to preemptively... prevent Barles from doing this, but Barles just did it anyways.
One tiny little thing I noticed. Look at the other gold option for Hart, the one way on the left. Look at what's over there.
Yeah, there's a unit just camping it.
One little skirmisher, dude.
And that's not by
has
chance.
Full vision. No, that's intentional.
Yeah.
That's so good.
Yeah, he knows the map well. And drops the second TC, or sorry, not a second TC, that's his 4th. On the gold on the right, also redocking. Starting to mass longboats there. And a very safe castle, which I think is amazing against Byzantines, because if there's one way Byzantines come back, it's with the Trebor. And so you don't want that castle to be exposed at all.
Both going up to imp at the same times is very nice from Hart, considering the eco advantage that Barles has had for a big part of this. But once again, just... you need gold. You need gold in Imperial Age to do anything. And
it's,
right now, there's none available for Hart.
This could be a bit tilting as well. Because this is a long time for Hart to sit here struggling without gold and still trying to fight through it. But it's got to be easy as a player right now to just feel like I got screwed by the map and be frustrated and let that affect you if you lose and moving on to the future games, at least the next one.
Well, fortunately, Hart isn't a big tilter, so...
Well, I will say this. I think he can be a big tilter, but in times where he's gotten tilted, he actually gets over it and you can't even tell. So there's getting tilted and there's being able to fight through that, and Hart has shown that he's got that ability.
He resets quite quickly.
Yeah.
He does.
It's
credit to him.
But, I mean, this is only going to get worse at his starting eco with the food in the wood, because the longboats are advancing even further down there.
And they're going around,
And, like, his skirms can't go anywhere, dude. He's trying to attack with skirms, and he just gets spotted by more ships. This is like pond hopping for Barles. Just more docks coming up every time he gets the opportunity, and now the imp upgrades start to come in.
He does need to control that pond to the right. That's one pond that he's missed out on. I think that would be really, really valuable for him. But the crossbows are looping around that way. The longboats are still going around the edge of the map. And it's another safe castle for Barles at the back of his base.
Poor Hart needs to go for more fire ships, which is just more gold. That doesn't immediately solve the no gold problem because he can't get to the middle.
Yeah.
It's this never-ending cycle of pain right now. And there is elite longboat now for Barles. Crazy. And another defensive castle super far in the back of his base to take out that dock to maybe get more of the shoreline. So he could continue to cycle.
Longboat's coming into the fires. Elite longboat is a pretty big upgrade.
The crazy
It does give
upgrade.
them a lot against the fires, yeah. And you can see how quickly those fires are going down. Barles still needs to pay attention to these units, though. He's still trying to get his crossbows out of there. They'll run into the TC fire from Hart, but he should be able to clear up the fires. And then with chemistry, he should be able to start getting some cannon galleons out. If he sees that castle, which he actually doesn't yet, he could range that with cannon galleons from the middle pond.
I think he'll find that soon.
For Barles.
I mean, maybe he doesn't make the champions this second, but he's just getting the techs ahead of time. Because that's going to take quite a few techs and upgrades. And I don't love it against Byzantines, but if you have a significant eco lead, you can absolutely kill
if your
cataphracts
opponent
with
does
champions.
have gold.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, if your opponent doesn't have any gold, you can go champions perfectly fine. You're going to be okay.
And Barles is at the point with his numbers now on the sides where it's just patrol and it'll do everything you need.
Yeah.
And you see
he's
it on the
also docking
left.
that right pond. So he's going to take control of that.
Why go champions when you can go berserks, though? Like, elite berserk's super cheap now. I feel like it's underrated. People don't realize that. Maybe I'm just too much of a berserk fan, but...
I mean, if you're floating res, right? You might as well just tech into the unit that doesn't rely on your castles staying alive.
Yeah. I mean, that's the boring way of doing it. I feel like this is a conversation that
I'm not disagreeing with you.
Bro, I think 3 years ago, we probably had this exact same conversation in the exact same Civ matchup, but the roles were reversed.
And I was on the other side.
Yeah. I was like, yeah, but actually, it's just way better to have the production and you can use your castles. Yeah. We're coming full circle. I mean...
He still doesn't know about that castle somehow, Barles. He has no idea it's there.
If Barles loses this game, I'm going back to Facebook. Like, there's no way Barles could ever lose this game, right? Like, come on.
He just sniped the Droman from Hart. Like, how is Hart managing to afford anything?
Great question.
Anything at all.
5 on gold with no mining camp right now. That's how.
How is he managed? And he just got the relic, and it's like, how has he managed to do any of this? Oh, he is seeing the gold now on the left side, but Barles has an outpost and a house and a dock there.
Yeah.
So Barles should be able to deal with that once he notices Hart is over there.
A nice micro there from Hart on the Mangonel. Still waiting for Barles to finish Hart off. This is like the end of the movie. He's got his boot on Hart's neck. He's ready to finish him, and he just refuses to do so.
Another safe castle.
Another safe castle. That's a good castle, though. It protects the shoreline and all that gold. And he will win this pond because Hart doesn't have what it takes to defeat these longboats.
What is the price on the resources now? It's still actually so good for food, dude. He could have sold food for 84 gold, but he just calls GG.
Yeah.
I think Hart is just going to blame that one on the map, to be fair. And I think Barles still played very, very well, and he took advantage of all the forward golds from Hart.
I actually think the biggest thing for me was I can't think of a single time where Barles looked troubled with his eco in Feudal Age. There wasn't a single time. And even his fish, he didn't lose his fish either.
First.
Yeah.
He went for the men-at-arms forward, and Hart went for archer range to respond against that.
Yeah.
I think maybe if Hart had gone for like militia or men-at-arms to counter the men-at-arms, maybe then we have a different conversation. But you're playing Byzantines. That's not the game you want to play.
Also,
with Byzantines.
The gold is only a conversation because Barles went for Vikings. No one else is picking Vikings. Again, there might have been other instances. I know ACCM did, but like usually people are going for Japanese or Malians or Huns or some civilization that goes fire ships. So the strategy from Barles worked perfectly. And what a rebound. I kind of felt like game 1 was so brutal that it was going to be tough for him to recover. Then in game 2, it looked really brutal and he still hung on. So Barles reminding everyone what he's capable of here. And yeah, GG. We got a series.
And that was Hart's home map. Welcome in, everyone. Skukuza. We got a lot of hunt in the center. I think it's like 30K. Or no, it's 10K. Okay. 1/3 of what I thought. There's 10K hunt in the center. There's a lot. And we've got a pretty open base behind. These trees around the TC, the straggler trees do have 200 wood each. So a lot of players will try not to go for the lumber camp early.
Yep.
And they will go for a barracks if they're planning on Dark Age pressure. Romans and Japanese might be thinking a little more along the lines of men-at-arms in Feudal Age. So
100%.
Maybe we might see a lumber camp from the Romans. I think you always see a lumber camp from the Japanese because it's so cheap.
Whoa, like, there was a moment there where all the ostrich moved at the same time. I don't know if you caught that, but it was weird. Yeah, Japanese don't really have great long-term eco bonuses here, right? It's all about the early game, cheap lumber camps, cheap mills. So Barles has to utilize that, and if he can't hit those timings with the faster Feudal Age or take advantage of that, I really like the Romans. 5% greater efficiency in everything is huge. And then I think tech-wise, good infantry themselves, and then great Scorpions. Scorpions actually are very strong against Japanese. Japanese don't get bombard cannon. They usually go infantry. They usually go
the extra
cavalry.
armor upgrade too, in Feudal Age even. Like it doesn't make that much of a difference, I think, against the faster attacking infantry from Japanese, but against the villagers, it just means they can't fight them. They cannot fight.
And both players basically going for the opposite of what we had advertised could happen before we hopped in. But it's reached a level now where neither player wants to go into the Vil fight. Neither player wants to ruin their builds. And I guess in some ways that favors both. Like, Hart's not a Vil War type of guy. But then Barles doesn't want his eco fighting because he can go for the faster uptimes. So
Barles is a Vil War type of guy.
Yeah.
Barles is a flank on BF. Like, my man he can fight. He can throw hands for sure.
I really think, though, once you've got enough food from this, you need to abandon the middle. As boring as that sounds, I think if you can get like 5 or 6 ostrich and zebra in Dark Age and just transition into berries and farms, that is the safe play. It can be worth the risk. We saw it from MBL in his game with Goths, but once the army comes out, I think at least Hart is going to be the player who farms. Barles will maybe bring more villagers to the middle.
Maybe. You never really know, right? All it takes is one bad engagement early as, Barles is going to be kind of mad with his scout there. It didn't attack twice. So he lost some HP. But, like, all it takes is one misguided fight with the villagers or some bad pathing around an ostrich with the militia, and suddenly the other player is snowballing.
Yep.
And has a huge advantage on the military, and you're in really bad shape. Hart just snipes that zebra before Barles can kill it, as Barles is trying to lame all of the stuff here from Hart. But it's 3 militia out from him. It's only 2 here from Hart.
I'm very curious to see if Hart prioritizes armor, because he is a player who's going to go for range a lot of the time and only go for the blacksmith if, big fight. I think this is actually a good fight for Hart. He might lose a Vil, but what's the aftermath going to be? Am I crazy? I think this is really good for Hart.
I think this is really solid. Like, it's 3 militia dead plus the scout. Maybe Barles overestimated his Japanese attack bonus there a little bit. He gets to Feudal Age, same thing with Hart, and he needs to back away.
Yeah, pretty close. I mean, like, if you get the Vil and then you back away, you might end up feeling okay with this. But just one more militia for Hart who needs to click man-at-arms. And that's the same for Barles as we see a tower. So far, neither player has gone for what I said and has fallen back. This could be a very quick game. Will we see the armor for Hart? I see the blacksmith now. And more Vils coming to the middle, dude. I don't know if he's going to be able to get armor in time.
It's going to be super expensive, that armor.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you need to keep villagers coming out. You can't fall into the trap of idling your TC for 5 minutes, like we've seen from some players here. Both towers now working away on the militia, and that's going to be a reset there, basically. But Barles sent more villagers forward. And now Hart is sending more villagers forward.
Who actually has Vils on food right now?
Barles with the men-at-arms underneath the tower, and another one comes out from Hart. There's one being produced right now from Barles. No one has any food at the moment to make more military.
Or Vils. Or Vils. Look at the idle TC time
look at the
for
tower
Barles.
HP.
Yeah.
Tower HP from Hart is not good. If that tower goes down, he's cooked.
Vil HP isn't good either, which means he has to abandon this. And if you, earlier in this game, you built a couple farms, you built the mill on the berries, you're okay now if you're Hart. But he didn't do that. He brought all these Vils to the middle, so he has to kind of get something from that. Well played from Barles there.
God. This is not what you want to see if you're Hart, and you're already down 2-1. And you have nothing in the queue. You can't even afford a villager.
It's rough. The funny thing is, they have the same amount of idle TC time, but both players are like, shit, I'm dead.
Yeah.
You're like, oh no, he could produce, I can't. But it's actually kind of bad for both.
The range is going up faster here from Hart. So at least Hart can get some range units up. Barles went for the blacksmith. So Barles will probably keep making men-at-arms.
Okay.
And just try and pressure this area. There's also a bunch of weak villagers there from Hart, so he needs to be very careful. Just even a single men-at-arms or men-at-arms can kill 3 or 4 Vils if he's not paying attention.
Oh, his food eco is going to be a struggle. It's going to be an absolute struggle. I just feel like Barles should go for skirms now. I get it. I'm an infantry fan. You're Japanese. You want more man-at-arms, but the last thing you want to do when you have a lead is commit too heavily into infantry, and then a couple archers could be devastating.
Berries for Hart. He loses another Vil. Oh, and that's the food eco, and Barles has identified that. That is the food eco right there. Wood upgrade coming in super quick for Barles here. That's actually super fast on this map. It's really fast on this map.
Hart with the quick walls. Nice defense there to delay the inevitable maybe with that, but he's got archers out. He's adding farms, and 3 men-at-arms only for Barles. And they're all on screen, and the 2 archers could push them away. So this might end up being okay.
One thing we never see on this map is usually like scouts, right? It's all skirms, it's all men-at-arms, but if you think about this, if you just select Hart's eco and look at the HP on the villagers, 2 scouts would give you such high value. It feels like just running in and being annoying. You might be able to tilt your opponent out of the game.
Honestly, 5 skirms become so much stronger if the villagers are this weak. Even with skirms, you can kill the Vils.
Men-at-arms back on the wood line again. Oh,
and
if Barles had gotten
Japanese
the armor on his
men-at-arms.
Oh! Will Hart save that? No way. No way!
No, he doesn't save it. A tilter there because he got the wall down. Yep. But not the first time we've seen that. Won't be the last. The whole time, Barles has that food eco and cheap mills that he can just drop down with Japanese, but not a single farm. So he is hard committed to the hunt, which eventually runs out. And eventually, these Vils are really exposed as well, right? Like if archers come in here, he also has weak Vils.
Yeah, but it's only 4 archers from Hart, and Hart has to start going into skirms now too. And skirms is not what you want in this situation. You want your opponent, ideally, if you're Hart, your opponent keeps making men-at-arms and you can mass up your archers. As soon as you see skirms, now you're gonna have to make a unit that can't really attack his eco.
Oh god.
And he can just keep picking away at yours. There's a bunch of weak Vils on that one line.
Oh man, the man-at-arms are going in for the hunt.
Look away! Look away! Oh no, Japanese men-at-arms. He's gonna try and kill. He's gotten 2 of them. Make it 3.
Yikes, dude. That's so good for Barles.
Make it 4.
Yeah, Barles 7-1 eco KD. Sorry to reference that number, Brazilians, but I think now you just got to hold, right? Like, you know you have the eco lead. You just simply have to hold your advantage and think about what could possibly go wrong. And the answer would be out-upgraded and out-produced. And you can't toss away skirms like this. Maybe you can to kill a couple archers. Maybe that's
get rid of the archers. Yeah, like if you kill all the archers, then you can just keep making men-at-arms.
Yeah.
To like chase away the skirms, right? So like it's kind of worth it. I wouldn't mind a second range from Barles just to keep yourself alive here.
Dude, but what about scouts now? Like, I hate to be that guy again, but scouts now, you don't have to spend gold on it. You have lots of food. You do have to make an additional building, but that might be way easier to use.
I mentioned it before with the HP as well. You can kill all the Vils. You can kill every Vil under his TC.
Yeah.
With 3 scouts.
Like, I'm too much of an Arabian nerd, and that's where my brain's always going to go after the man-at-arm opening, but we'll see. He's got armor on the man-at-arms, and the skirms, it's just focusing down the archers.
The culture of this map if maps were to have a culture, you know, the culture of this map, it's like we don't make scouts. We just don't.
Yeah,
you know, we might make some knights, but we're standing on our own 2 feet.
I like it. I think if there was any map where you should make man-at-arms, it should be this. So I'm happy to see that it's working. And I think Hart has just got to be hoping that Barles is going to invest all of his resources into Feudal and just run out of food.
Yeah.
Like, straight up run out of food. And that's getting dangerous. How much zebra do we have? We've got 9 of them. There's maybe 3 or 4 ostriches, but Barles is being smart about it. And I see a couple farms underneath the TC now.
Yeah. I mean, double range production is dangerous if you only have 1 range yourself. Even though you've killed so many villagers, if your opponent gets up to like 20 range units and you don't have anything, you're going to have a bad time. You're going to have a real bad time. Yep. And that's the way back in for Hart. So Barles needs to identify that and start making something that can counter that sort of play instead of going for these random raids at the sides. Because at some point, like right now, Hart is going to decide, okay, I can come forward.
Yeah.
And now Barles is going to have to pull something back.
Like three scouts with armor. This army from Hart can't be here. And the 7 man-at-arms can be hit and run against. And they found it very difficult to engage. So a couple villagers here.
7-3.
Not
Brazilians
bad.
are happy again.
Yep. And I can't think of any results where Germans were on the end of a bad 7-3. We could talk about some embarrassing group stage exits, Germans, so don't get too excited about the 7-1 joke, all right?
There's a weak fill there from Hart. If Barles can notice, he's trying to hunt that other one down. So many weak villagers. And that's a big army at the back there that Hart really needs to respect. And they're in on the wood line.
No, this is horrible.
Got the armor for the men-at-arms.
Run,
He's
bro.
got the armor.
Run.
He's got the armor.
Run.
No. Oh, man.
Yikes. I mean, you kind of hope that when you fight back there that the man-at-arms die to the archers and you don't lose everything. And in all honesty, he could have lost a lot more. This wood line has been a horrible position for Hart to deal with.
So many weak builds there, too. Barles isn't noticing those immediately. But Hart can't just really hang out on this wood line. Like, he needs to kill this army. And now Barles uses the market. He's going to go up to the Castle Age. He has a tower in the center, and he also made the tower near the gold, so Hart can go over there to raid him. And there was a tower at home on the wood line. So Barles locked it down pretty good, and now Castle Age is on the way.
So, I mean, you know me. I still am on board with a stable and a couple knights now. But if you're not going to do that, Samurai wouldn't be the craziest thing. You have 320 stone. Your opponent's full skirm, pretty much. You could maybe buy some stone for a castle. Maybe that's more of a long-term plan in this matchup. But I'd like to see Barles think about what he's going to do with that stone. You don't get that much stone and just sit on it. You're either dropping TCs or you're saving for a castle.
Yeah, the culture dictates that you should probably think about Samurai, at least for a second.
100%, 100%. Barles,
double stable.
Man of the people, man of the culture. And double stable. And this is the good play, the safe
Hart
play.
already knows, dude. Hart knows he's over. It's over. He knows he's going to have to win 3 games in a row to come back in this set.
The eco isn't insane for Barles, so he can only make like 2 or 3 knights. So with Roman armor and this many ranged units, maybe this is something you could push back. He's going in underneath the tower. Barles drops some houses there, but that doesn't mean that his tower stays up. It doesn't mean these villagers survive, which could be 6 deaths. Knights will be on the way soon. Barles just has to do what he can here to repair this and stay alive.
Yeah, from Barles' perspective, this is the longest Castle Age he's ever had.
Yeah, it's taking forever.
This is the longest Castle Age tech of all time, dude. He's finally there, and he can finally make some knights. And it's almost a situation where you want to wait until the full 4 knights before you go in.
Yeah.
Instead of just the 2. Or maybe you send the first 2 into the eco behind. You know that wood line's there.
I mean, if your vills already die, it kind of makes it easy to be patient. It's not like there's a chance.
Around.
Yeah.
He's going for the counterattack.
Hart needs to wall everything. And I just looked back at his eco, and I almost vomited. Like, this is bad.
The berries. Hey, at least the berry villagers are full HP. Dude.
Like,
Don't look at the wood.
I think I looked at Hart's mill there, and I almost got flu a second time. Like, it's just horrible. And you know, Hart's eco's normally so well managed that he probably just looked at that too and was like, oh, God. Like, what is happening to me?
Yeah.
And Barles has been patient, and he's pretty well protected. That army from Hart's going to run this way. It'll go into a tower if Barles garrisons. And then the TC will be up. It's like Barles is so well protected with a town center or a tower everywhere. And now the Knights are hitting Hart's eco. Wow, impressive from Barles. Like, this is the Barles that everyone hypes up. And then sometimes you don't see this continue on past the round of 16, you know? But we're in the round of 12, and Barles 3 straight wins, and Hart probably just a little shocked right now at how quickly this has turned around on him.
That's sick. That's really sick from Barles. And it all comes back to that tower fight early, right? Like, Barles went for the tower first, and then Barles was out with the villagers attacking Hart's tower a little bit faster.
Yeah.
So Hart went for the counterattack. But if you are a little bit slower and your tower is lower HP, you almost have to pull the villagers back and start attacking the units attacking your tower to try and make up ground. And as soon as you do that, Barles can start firing on your units, and it's just one extra unit kill changes the entire game. And that's exactly what happened.
Those types of situations is exactly like that's what Hart wants to avoid against a player like Barles, because that almost feels like a bit of a coin flip, right? You don't know what's going to happen. And you both commit the same amount, you do the same build, and one person wins massively because they get the hunt. And I just think Hart's going to want those more adaptive situations. So I'm surprised. I talked about it. Maybe Hart could have just not hard committed to the middle. He could have taken what he did in Dark Age, farmed a little bit, and sat back. It feels weird to give the opponent access to that hunt. But we saw eventually you can kill Vills with archers.
Like, we've seen people, I think it was Nikov, and there was a few other people who just who pushed as many deer as they possibly could. They never made a mill in the center. They made the mill on the berries, and then they went like double range once they go to Feudal Age.
And then all the Vills are exposed. Yeah, exactly. The person on hunt is super exposed there. It's easier said than done, and it's easy to say after the fact, but I think Hart will be frustrated he didn't take the more relaxed approach there. So... 3-1. Hart has had some pretty ridiculous comebacks before, and he can get very streaky in good ways and bad. So if he's able to get this one, who knows? He
also has some very good maps for, like, Brookside. I like Hart's chances there. Land Madness, Pacific Islands is kind of a toss-up, right? But also the civilizations. Barles already used Japanese, and Japanese in this current meta are a very strong pick. Hart still has that available. He's still got Mongols. I don't know how Mongols slipped through the draft. And he's still got Portuguese as well.
I have had
and Lithuanians.
Like, they're getting into the game so fast. I have no time to even pull up the draft and get it prepped. 30 seconds for the next one. Like, this is crazy. I'm trying to find the time, but there's just instantly another game. So I'll let you just read that off, I guess.
So it's available civs as Saracens, Georgians, Incas, and Maya for Barles.
Okay.
Then we have Japanese, Mongols, Portuguese, and Lithuanians for Hart.
All good civs. All really good civs. Now, we have not necessarily new meta, but kind of a slight off meta pick here from Barles, which I like. I think you need that against Hart. And we've got the Mayans now, or I guess the Maya, or I guess
I'm mad they took away our NS, dude. They took away the NS. I'm mad, dude. What do you call? What are you gonna call them? Like Lithuania instead of Lithuanians? No, it doesn't. Like,
and
what are you gonna call it, dude?
Capture Age just followed
Brito?
suit immediately. So now it's this Maya
They're not
here
the Brito, they're the Britons.
I think the Britons is a really bad way to defend your argument. I was with you with Lithuanians, but going with Brito didn't help. Yeah, I said earlier I think they'll always be. I'll always say Mayans, but maybe I'll get used to change. But not your typical pick here. Usually you're seeing scout civilizations, But I feel as though Mayans are stronger in 9 villager starts. You don't have to get Loom right away. And we've seen the Eagle and Archer build be really tough for the Scout Skirmisher metas to break. I think it was Hera who really mastered that at maybe one of the NACs. And since then, I've seen other people doing it too. So that would be my guess for the build for Barles.
A little bit of karma here. For Barles, or maybe not karma, but like balance in the force, you know? All of his golds are forward.
Yeah, true.
He's got the one like in the back kind of.
Yeah.
But Hart has the safe gold back there. And if you're going for the Eagle play, you need a gold that's secure. So that might force Barles into an early tower setup. It is a very woody version of Land Madness, to be fair. So there's a wood line kind of blocking off that area to some extent. So maybe that can help protect him a little bit, but still the golds forward is not great.
And you can wall to the edge, so technically Barles could go behind his wood line, wall to the stone, wall to the house near the TC and be okay. But yeah, you got to be really creative. But again, the nice thing is you have the additional Vil, like you permanently have that Vil lead. Your resources still last longer. And if anything, I think this is going to make him have his foot on the gas even more. The fact that his gold's that forward. So at least my guess right now is it won't be straight archers. I think it will be Eagle Archer. And the key is you're always producing an Eagle out of that barracks because it takes such a long time to get one out. As long as that's always there and you don't take losses for the first 2 minutes, suddenly you're up to like 3 or 4 Eagles with 4 or 5 archers, and it's tough.
Did they change the production time on them on the latest patch? Dude, it's so hard for me to keep track of all the changes. I remember reading something about it. Maybe they made it a little faster?
Think so. I know that it's tough too because we have conversations on what could come, and we don't know
that's the toughest part.
Because
like,
I think
don't even know.
Like I was talking to Nilly at one point before the new patch, and he was saying that he thinks that Eagles would need to produce faster.
It got faster
because the man at arms
faster.
Okay. Wow, so Aztec should be pretty ridiculous with Eagles then. Okay, so if that got faster, I mean, that makes sense. It makes this build even stronger, and it was very good in the past anyways. But I find it's difficult to get the food eco right and the timing on the upgrades, because Eagles, Archers, Fletching, it's very difficult to get right. And I've seen it go wrong, and it's also tough to know what are you scaling towards. Are you scaling towards Eagles, or are you going to scale towards Archers? It all depends on how the engagements go.
I mean, that's a Civ matchup question as well, right? Like,
yeah.
Eagles don't feel that bad against Portuguese, I guess. But against some other civilizations, you're kind of leaning away from them, right? Like if you're in a matchup against Inca, you don't really want to go Eagles against that.
The Eagle Archer build I find is especially good against Scouts. And Hart will definitely know its build. So I think what you can do, because Eagles produce so slowly, and because they're not so good against Archers in Feudal, you can actually go double range. You just outproduce range units against it, and the opponent isn't prepped to go skirms. Maybe that is a good approach, and the Portuguese have very cheap archers, so...
I love the way that Barles is walled around this gold. That's exactly what he needed to do here.
Yeah.
And he can add a tower on that if he really needs to. But you can't wall directly to the wood line, but even walls like that, where you can block up the choke point with a few units, very, very nice.
Also, great scouting from both. And Barles didn't get his starting Eagle sniped, which is a pretty big deal. That can happen sometimes when you go forward to scout the opponent with Mezzo. But now he's got 2 Eagles. And that, I felt the difference on that. Like, that's really fast. He's about to have his 3rd Eagle already. And just 1 range for Hart so far.
Second range from Hart.
Okay. This is a lot of pressure, though. He'll need to get fletching. The Eagles are there. I think Hart will be fine with this, especially because the Eagles just froze.
No, they just paused in between attacks, dude.
They didn't attack? Or they did attack?
They attacked once, and then they paused. Yeah, they attacked once, and then they paused, and we're setting up for the next one, and Barles pulled them back at the last second. It's so stupid. They stab. Bring me back the old anime. Here we go again. But they stab, and then they wait.
Well,
and they just like do the little hover animation. It's stupid.
That felt like a freeze to me, but I do... I'm torn on it because you want the animations of the attack to match everything that's happening in the game,
but it doesn't.
It does feel really weird, but I don't know yet.
It doesn't.
Does it feel weird because it's weird, or does it feel weird because we had 20 plus years of experience with the other way?
Both.
I could see it being both. I could see it being both. Barles moving out. I kind of feel like you get stuck now with this build because you're just going to get outproduced on archers, and you didn't have a food eco set to go for skirms immediately. Barles will do that anyways. He's dropping a tower at home. It's fine, but I like the double range from Hart, in theory.
And look at that wall off from Barles. Jeez. All the way to the side, to the edge of the map, goes for the tower as well. He pulls the army as far away as possible, and Hart realizes that he needs to start going forward now. So he's coming forward with the archers. Barles needs to do something about locking down the left side. The gold is locked down. Mm-hmm. The right side's fine once the walls go up. It's the left side on the wood that's going to be a big issue, and that's exactly the area that Hart is angling towards right now.
Hart could have easily justified turning around and chasing these eagles, because if you kill those, you feel really comfortable, but he's not doing that, and I kind of love it. Now, I'm not sure if I love this.
Tower. Oh, no, the tower. It's on the wrong side. He can't get the villagers there.
Ooh. Only got one villain side, but Hart backs away. That could have been much worse for Hart. Also could have been much worse for Barles, I guess. So every time you're playing Portuguese, I'm thinking crossbow knight, crossbow knight, crossbow knight. Or it's like crossbow ballistics, boom. Or I guess if you're on arena, organ guns. But yeah, that's got to be on Hart's mind. And crossbow knight's perfect if you're worried about skirms, which could come, or if you're worried about eagles.
Eagles struggle against crossbow knight.
Yeah.
As long as there's like 10 crossbows with 5 or 6 knights in front, it's really tough for the eagles to do anything against that.
So much army. Double range production's just constant. But Hart doesn't have great food eco. He just finished his berries. He only has like 10 farms, which is not good at all. It's also not good that he's not realizing his idols. I'd expect him to realize that in most cases. Engagement's a little early here for Barles, so he does take some hits before armor comes in. But armor's going to complete, which will make him more comfortable.
And he got the market up.
And he gets
he's
the
just
market.
Looking to delay as much as possible.
Yeah, Hart
knows. Sells the stone first, though.
Hart knows his eco is pretty atrocious here. But I think that comes back to how much wood he's spending on the builds. And if he can just click up, you don't actually need that much food to go crossbow. But it might eliminate crossbow knight from the equation, honestly. Might be more of a crossbow siege situation, but that gets tougher if there's eagles out.
I mean, is Barles eco really, at the moment, Barles eco is just worse, right? Like, he's had a minute and 20 seconds vital TC time almost.
Yeah. I like the amount of farms he has. I like the engagements he's taking. He's not overextending, and he's got really nice opportunities to snipe these archers. And Hart is up. Hart Scout is so weak, and it dies.
Eagles coming forward. That could be a problem if Hart doesn't do anything about that gold at the back of his base.
Especially if he's reinforcing constantly. That gold could get hit in 2 minutes' time. But I think
Barles knows all about that.
I think Barles shouldn't hit. I mean, maybe you can make an argument for attacking it now, but I think if you do it now...
No. You wait till castle.
Yeah, because if you do it now, he then is aware that you're going to try that and keep some army at home.
Well, did Hart see the eagles, is my question. Did he see these?
No, I don't think so.
All right, well, the eagles are coming in. He sees them now.
He's losing a lot of archers to these skirms right now.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow. Like, these skirms are doing some damage. Now the eagles are hitting. Hart has to pull away.
Oh, God. Not a great situation for him. I mean, there's going to be no villager kills probably, but that's a lot of idle time. And that's gold that you can't use for bodkin and crossbow.
Yeah. But at the same time, Hart is always producing, and Barles really hasn't been. Like, it hasn't been one range always queued. It hasn't been one barracks always queued. It feels like he's had some unnecessary idle time with production, so He won't have the biggest army ever. But the Eagles are still on the gold, and Hart can't make knights yet. And he must be really frustrated with this. I mean, this is the type of map you would expect Hart.
He's sending the weak villagers back there too. Like, he just keeps muscle memorying the go back to work hotkey.
Yeah.
Right back on the gold again, right? So the villagers are just idled all over the place. Bunch of weak ones. Once those Eagles are castle age, it's going to be way easier to snipe those. Bunch of weak villagers all over the place as Barles continues to hunt down these archers on the other side. Hart can afford bodkin arrow, crossbow, and one knight.
Hart is fortunate not to have lost more vills. He has a lot of weak villagers. Still only lost one this game. Will have a pretty strong opportunity with his crossbows before Elite Skirm comes in, which is another 30 seconds. And the micro has been good here. Barles is getting it nice and close, though. Is it too early, or is it worth it? He's losing most of his skirms.
Yeah, losing the skirms there before Elite Skirm comes in is a bit rough, but the Eagles are there. So they're going to continue pushing those away. Still, it's only one skirmisher now for Barles.
It's a horrible fight.
Yeah,
1, 2, 3, 4,
might be able
5,
to clear
6.
up some crossbows at the back of Hart's base, maybe with the Eagles.
Remember, Eagles they're not Eagle Warriors. They're just Eagle Scouts, and they're pretty weak from before, so Hart defense. Do or die for Hart. He loses one more game, he's out. Needs to win 3 straight, and he seems to have stabilized a little bit. Eagles are just going to go out for raiding, but there needs to be an answer to the crossbows and the knights that Hart's sending forward. You can do this, though. If you can get the house walls down, then use the skirmish behind the walls. The knights don't matter. Not easy, but it's not the biggest army for Hart either.
Oh, nice snipes. Take out 2 of 5 crossbows. Really, really solid, right? Hart's still applying pressure though. Like Hart's been good with this. There is a villager that's gonna go down, so that's the first villager death of the game for Hart. And it's to a random eagle on the other gold that Barles spotted. He still has a couple
Barles
eagles.
Needs another house.
Very, very
Barles
weak.
needs another house.
Barles needs a house. He gets it.
He get it, but the Vill's super weak. That Vill's got to do gymnastics for his people right now, and yeah, he goes down, and there's no protection back here for Barles. There's also not a lot of crossbows for Hart anymore. It's more so about the knights, but there's not many eagles for Barles. He's just lacked production.
Feels like he needs to commit to try and kill these crossbows.
Oh, that's so good for
Hart. He can kind of wall out the knights as long as the crossbows aren't there. Hart pulls the weak knight away. That's fantastic. Let's see if Barles can get the wall off. He does. And Barles trying to go for another TC as he masses up the eagles and waits for the monk to get here. The crossbows are the issue here. The knights could have been walled off, and then you wait for the monk, right? But Hart did such a good job saving those crossbows from the elite skirms that now Barles' villagers are under fire, and he's going to lose some.
Imagine if Barles just backed away with that early army in castle and waited for elite skirm. I think this army is never enough to get through. These are knights without bloodlines. This is a very weak army. And Hart's been able to get crazy value from it. He snipes the monk as well. So 100 gold down the drain, and honestly, might not even be worth engaging for those crossbows.
That's such a sick fight from Hart. Just so much value from just a few units. And Barles has to go for a tower on the wood line.
Yikes.
Against one crossbow, basically. The knights are a non-factor if the crossbow isn't there.
Yeah. Barles is doing what he can to stabilize the situation. More crossbows from Hart. Vill count's still close enough where this is anybody's game. And a conversion finally happened for Barles, so he can clear up the ranged units. He can start to think about moving out. But, I mean, we haven't looked at Hart's base. Maybe his eco isn't all that good. But I love his army count, man. So much army.
Yep, it's just military, military, military. Although he sent 2 crossbows to their death against that tower, which isn't fantastic. And the Siege Workshop now coming up from Barles. And the Eagles are moving forward from Barles. Now, what does that woodline look like? Well, there's knights around it. Should be fine.
Yeah, especially if the Eagles don't see it right away. He does react. Ballistics could come in for Hart. I'm worried about his wood eco, but I'm seeing a new lumber camp at home. It's looking better now. This is Hart feeling comfortable. He's found his groove. And another group of crossbows loops up.
Be careful with the knights, so you can't allow both of these to be converted. Nice.
Sick.
Perfect.
Yeah, Hart's... This is finally, for the first time in 3 games, we're seeing Hart on his A game again. He's had to claw his way back into a position to get there. But I don't see an easy answer for Barles at the moment. There's just so much military.
You just have to hope for a lucky fight, right? Lucky conversions, lucky mangonel shots, something along those lines. He loses another monk.
Well, if Barles gets distracted with a raid, and there's a couple eagles heading for one right now, maybe he also loses his crossbows to the mangonel. Because I don't think he knows about the... No, he sees the mangonel.
He knows about it now.
Yeah, and he also reacts to the eagles perfectly. Sick awareness.
Hart's cooking again.
I like how Hart has said, sure, you can wall land madness a little bit, but let's just not, right? Let's just make tons of army, and that's been the downfall for Barles. He hasn't produced army. He's relied on walls. And sure, that's a strategic difference between the two of them, but... Barles also bringing in 2 relics casually? Or I guess just 1?
Classic.
Because he left 1 behind? But...
Another tower from Barles in a really random position, but it stops Hart from going through the middle of his base.
Yeah, but he can't complete
Back
that
towards
tower.
the gold.
Well, maybe he can.
He can. He distracts Hart with 3 tasty villagers over on the other side.
9-2 eco KD, but Hart right now just controlling every army perfectly. He's got 2 armies in attack. He's got 1 army in defense. 3rd town center's coming up for him. And if this stays as is, I don't see an easy way back for Barles, but Barles could spend that gold and that wood. Maybe go crossbow himself. Or maybe just mass a bunch more eagles, yeah.
He's out of gold. He has no gold left to take.
True. Hey, he's got 0.
And Mezzo with no gold is dead.
Well, I mean, I've heard that the Skirm upgrade is one of the most overlooked upgrades.
No, it's pros
What's the quote? Pros consistently throw because of overlooking.
Due to unnecessary single-minded avoidance of my skirmishes.
That sentence is the best.
No, it's great. It's the most Reddit sentence ever.
It's like they really thought, how many words can we put into this? Oh my god. I bet you the person who wrote that sentence doesn't have more than 6 hotkeys.
He does have more than 6 brain cells, dude. They're all in a thesaurus somewhere.
Single-minded avoidance.
Yep.
Well, I mean, skirms is genuinely what you need to try here, but it doesn't solve the issue of the knights. So, he's gonna... Oh, look at this. Sneaky little army from Barles. If he can get a TC there, that could be good. And it's not a very big army from Hart, so...
Hart knows this. He can see the entire map. He knows that Barles is looking for gold, similar to the way Barles knew Hart was looking for gold on that immersion game.
Yeah. And I don't think a TC is going to complete there. I mean, this would have to be the perfect conversions and attack grounds for Barles to have any chance.
Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. The perfect conversions and attack grounds coming right up.
Conversion start. Crossbow split away. When it's Barles, you're actually kind of worried about this if you're Hart. He might not take the engagement.
You actually are. Yeah, Hart's like, I don't know about this.
Yeah, I mean, when you think you have the lead and you cannot lose, you might not take this fight, but he splits.
He's coming in. He's coming in. He's coming in. He takes a big shot, and a bunch of knights are converted, and he takes another shot too.
Oh,
and that
God.
is not horrible, bro. You should have just stayed home. Yikes.
I mean, that's what Barles can do, but I think Hart's still got enough. The skirms aren't enough. The skirms aren't enough. The Vills still aren't taking the gold, and Hart stays alive. And I don't know what the rest of the maps are, but if there's opportunity for him to play straight land, and there's not water incorporated or not like stone walls incorporated from the start, I could kind of see Hart continuing the streak here. We'll see.
I mean, we look at the maps remaining, right? Like, well, not you.
That was me asking you because yeah.
Brookside. There's some water
Okay.
involved there, but that's a map I would favor Hard on. It's a kind of standard land map, and then Pacific Islands is Heart's final home map.
I think you said in the past you weren't a fan of this map, but I love it because there's so many different things you can try.
I mean, I wasn't a fan before we saw so much aggression. Like Nineville start on this map is not bad.
Yeah,
because
okay.
you see the land and the navy come in at the same time. On the old version of this map, like when it first came back into the rotation of tournaments or whatever, maybe it was the Warlords or whatever, but it was basically just water. And then each person would take a separate island.
Just water sucks. Usually it's one player that gets away with doing something, and then it opens everyone else's mind. And somebody at some point said, oh, why don't I just use the transport ship to go archers? And it's kind of changed the map. But I'm expecting to see galleys from Barles at least. And I think Hart, with the water bonuses of the Japanese and the flexibility, will probably try some land mix.
I still want to see someone go Sicilians here, dude. I think they'd be so good on this map.
I think someone did once. I think Viper did once. Here comes the scout from Hart, by the way. Something we have seen before.
Found the villager.
And he finds the Vil.
Hello.
Dude, that transport has taken so long to get over here. Go, Barles, go. Go.
Jump! Oh my.
Yo.
Trying to get out. Just send another villager for another dock. Just send another villager for another dock.
That's so funny.
Or make the dock back here.
Look, Hart's coming back.
I mean, Hart has delayed this dock quite a bit. He's already got a fishing ship in the queue, and Barles is just still waiting.
That's
to
worth
start
it.
Building.
Yeah, you can't do anything about it, really. Don't tell me he has an opportunity to do it again. I think he's going to hop out to bait him and then just hop back in.
No, Barles is following this because he knows he has the HP advantage with his scout, right? So
Yeah. Well, that was something. Did Hart come right through the middle there? Yeah, I think Viper and ACCM also did this, like Noble Apartment Cup. You bring the transport right through the middle. You actually have your scout run on the shoreline because it moves at a similar speed to the transport ship.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, but Barles does find the scout, so I think Hart's going to be right back in there. But the nice thing for Hart is he knows where the dock is from Barles. And the approach that I think can work here is your second dock, if you're going to do that, goes very far forward, right near the opening to try and pressure the galleys.
Mm-hmm.
But this game has been a mouthful compared to other Dark Ages. But you think that Japanese are better here? You prefer Saracens? Where are you at on that?
I think Japanese are a little bit better, yeah. I think, like, if you get late game, Saracen galleys become very intimidating, but I've never really seen a situation where, like, the faster attack rate is actually winning a game. Usually you're able to manage it because your eco is better or your buildup was better if you're the Japanese, let's say, against Saracens. And also, Japanese have great towers, great trebs for these contests on the sides.
Mm-hmm.
And just the early eco bonuses are just so nice. The faster dock, the fishing ships with more HP, and they fish faster, and it's just great. Also, if you're gonna go for men-at-arms or archers or something like that, Japanese are probably better.
Yeah, I think kind of like every game with Japanese, the longer the game goes, probably the worse it gets for them. I'd say late Castle Age, if it's even, is where I like the Saracens, but that's purely due to the Navy. That and maybe bombard cannons. But a couple details here, which I think are worth mentioning ahead of time. Barles knows that this could be the land approach and archers. So he's actually building houses in a little preemptive wall, just in case. So I like that move from him, but it doesn't look like that's going to be the plan for Hart at all. And in the rare instances where it is double dock galleys from both at the start, I think we usually just see that continue out, kind of like an Islands game. So this could be one of the more boring Pacific Islands games, if that's what we're going to see.
Well, so barracks already from Barles.
Okay.
And Hart is on the same area. Does Barles know that Hart is on that area?
No, he does not.
He might be able to see the deer, like, running away from villagers.
Yeah. So he doesn't know, but I think both players are going to use process of elimination to understand the opponents over there because they're
Barles
scouting.
is scouting the right side, yeah.
But Hart has been more thorough with his scouting already. So he has looked for a long time, didn't find it, and now he's going to pick up that scout and go and
Is
confirm
he assuming that Barles is not? He's assuming Barles isn't over there on the left. Like, okay, he's coming.
Hart's
okay,
gonna
he's
look
sending
now.
the scout
Yeah,
now.
Hart's gonna
All
look
right,
now.
Good.
Like, he is 100% assuming that Barles is going galleys because that's what Saracens always do.
Yeah.
And it's not correct. And now he's going to see the range. Normally, I think you just tower up and then move forward with your galleys. But he's probably like, what? Why is a Saracen player going for that? And yeah, that's the approach from Hart. He drops the tower, which is smart. And this should be a signal for him that he's going to be ahead on water if he moves forward with the galleys.
Scout comes back across from Barles. So he's confirmed Hart isn't over there. He still doesn't know exactly where Hart's set up, but he's going to go for the scout, and he can see the deer moving around a little bit, and he will see the tower. Too.
And that tower tells him Navy.
If you see the tower there, is there a world in which you...
The world is there. Dude, the world is so there. I could predict what you're going to say. Are you going to say you move forward and build your own tower to shoot that down?
No, I was going to say load the archers in the transport ship and bring it to his home island.
Well, yes, actually. It's what we talked about it, but in reverse. We thought Japanese would do that. So now is the time to do that. But the other approach could be build a tower that shoots that tower down with your archers. But that wood line needs to be abandoned, Barles. That is a horrible spot to be. He will drop a tower.
Oh my god. Yeah, that's awful. Oh, and the villager path back the wrong way is going to be really mad about that one. Fortunately, you did lose him.
Dude, but those two archers are a game changer here. If they can make it to their target.
With the scout at almost full HP, if he can load that in as well.
Yep.
He's going for a rendezvous, maybe.
It'll make it.
Or he's just looking.
It'll make it. There's no other reason, and Hart's going to send everything forward. The thing that's weird to me is I've never seen someone go archers and galleys. It feels very tough to justify both. So I thought that if Barles was going to go for archers, he would go
into the galleys. He's hiding the galleys.
Honestly, that's fine, because if you continue to produce the galleys, you're going to lose them. So
Hart spotted the transport ship, but he didn't see the scout, so he might assume that that's just a scout.
Wait, Hart preemptively towered his stone at home?
Oh my god, he did!
Whoa, that's sick.
This is like layers upon layers.
Both players...
Nice little parfait of strategies here.
It's just... the meta has evolved now where all these things are somewhat expected, even though they're crazy. The nice thing is, if you're Hart, you're Japanese, so you can build new lumber camps if you need to. Seriously, though, I think if Barles... Okay, hear me out. Barles brings all of his vills in that lumber camp, and he rushes down Hart's tower and brings his archers.
But... well, that's only if you can confirm that Hart doesn't have a production building over there. And he still has the scout alive. Like, he killed the scout from Hart, so he can know.
Or buy a tower. Build a tower on the hill, which is going to be a really nice hill. And load up your archers into that and shoot that down. Where's Hart's Navy, by the way? He hasn't killed a single fishing ship.
He's searching for the Navy from Barles, because he saw the galleys earlier, and Barles hid them against the edge of the map. And now he's looping around, so he's going to pass Hart's transport ship.
If they're patrolled, that transport ship could go down, but they're not patrolled. And there's a fire there from Hart, and Hart seems to notice that.
Yep.
And Hart working away at this dock. It's going to take a while to take the dock down unless he has some fires. But he does have fires on the fields or on the water. And Barles kills a Vil on the dock.
Barles is going to go up to Castle Age soon, too.
Hart has all this military, all this navy. He's done very little with it. And the archers have forced towers, and the archers have killed some Vils for Barles. So I think Barles would be very happy in some ways at how this game has played out so far.
Oh, Hart sent those villagers back to the goal. He just keeps, like, hitting go back to work.
Yeah.
Instinctively. And the villagers just keep going back into the army there from Barles. It happened last game. It's going to happen this game. Fortunately for Hart, the villagers didn't die, but there's a bunch of weak ones again. As Castle Age is now in for Barles, Fletching coming in for Hart. Hart still has not killed a single fishing ship.
Yep. And is only going to take
And
down
it's a
one
tower
dock.
from Barles.
Ooh, but Hart sees it. And there's only 3 vills, and one of those vills is very close to death. I think Barles might need to...
doesn't see the tower.
Do you bail on it?
It's so close.
It's so close. I think you have to bail.
Oh, there's galleys there. Yeah, now you gotta bail. Now you gotta go. Now you gotta go.
Ooh, 6 stuff from Hart there. Yeah, Hart focused on the Vill on front, so the Vill behind would still get hit. But still, that's a Siege Workshop position if I've ever seen it for Barles. Once he hits Castle Age.
And he's still got a decent archer mass, too. He's got like 7 archers there, if he can afford crossbow, which it looks like he can.
Yep.
Castle Age is almost in. Hart clicks up, and Hart has finally found the fishing ships from Barles. So I'm actually stunned that the score is so close. Because, like, Hart has this massive navy. He's gotten more kills. It shouldn't be this close, and Hart must be thinking the same thing.
Yeah. I think the efficiency just hasn't really been there for Hart.
Maybe.
And he hasn't... His military has done very little. He just killed the fishing ships.
Oh, Bodkin Arrow will be... Bodkin Arrow and crossbow would be a problem for Hart because of these 2 archers on his home island.
I want you to look to the left of Hart's home island and look at that transport sneakily sitting there. He just dropped off another group, and then he sent it back into the shadows, dude.
Oh, no.
That's the frustrating thing about this map, is you can have all the navy control you want, but there's so many different avenues for them to use that transport.
Crossbow Bodkin's in. He gets hit on the woodline and on the gold at the same time.
And then look at the tower.
And on the gold at the same time.
The island on the left, like, he's shooting down that tower with his crossbows and Bodkin. Hart's still 40 seconds away from Castle Age. This is horrible.
3 different angles of attack, but, like, Hart's not losing vills, dude.
True.
They're just all weak.
Yeah,
They're
but
incredibly frail.
none of them can take wood pretty soon. That's the main issue.
Are we going for like a YOLO castle on our home island? Like, what's going on here? I don't even know.
Find your transport and castle drop Barles' island. No joke. Like, what else are you gonna do? You gotta do something. And land army is probably not gonna be great. He will make a couple knights.
Stone count is really solid for Barles. He goes for another tower.
Also, I think a key thing here, that second TC is so good. His food eco is not great, but that second TC is key. And if you need food, you can just buy it with the Saracens.
Dude, Hart just keeps saving villagers at like 2 HP. He finally lost one.
Oh, he researched Bodkin to shoot these villagers building the tower, and that might actually deny that tower. Barles is trying to distract the tower fire, but Hart notices he's doing that. Knights are on the way from Hart. Score lead for Hart.
Bring the crossbows out. Gotta bring the crossbows out of that tower, I think.
Yep, they will come out, and that's a fine engagement for Barles. Hart doesn't have armor. The tower for Barles could go up. There's just no land control for Hart now.
Dude, not the situation you want to be in on your like elimination game if you're Hart, right?
Yeah.
Like, this is just so messy. It's so messy. You know you're gonna have to claw your way back in. You know it's gonna be tough to mass military because your eco is all over the place. You have 1,000 stone in the bank almost.
I'm not trolling. The only way for Hart to win is to castle drop the starting island.
Barles Island.
Yeah.
Transport over there. I mean, the problem is that your opponent is Saracens, and you see him heavily on stone, so he could counter castle you.
Yeah, I guess. But you need some type of offensive pressure. Barles is looking way too comfortable with how things stand, even though he doesn't have the navy. It's not a perfect eco for Barles. He's got like 6 on food, and 3 of them are on deer right now.
Hart's set up on the middle island.
Look at Hart's stone miners. Look at how many vills.
Terrible.
What's happening to those villagers right now? Also, the obvious thing that Hart should do is actually transport to the right island.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
That's actually the clearest move, is get your eco over there. But he can't focus on it as he's trying to build another tower. And Barles microing like a madman to shoot this tower down.
I mean, dude, absolute credit to Barles here for making this game so messy when it absolutely should not have been.
I agree. Yeah.
Like, There were at one point there were 4 different armies, small ones, but 4 different little armies attacking Hart. And now Barles is healing the damage from the tower on his crossbows with the monk behind, and that knight needs to run away. And Hart is still repairing this tower.
Okay.
2 unbuilt towers on either side.
The fact that Hart's actually moving over here and there's nothing to stop him tells me he's actually okay. Like, this is not pretty, but now he can kind of give up on the left side a little bit. And there's a lot of room to expand. A tower from Barles to defend some areas of his starting TC because he doesn't have the navy.
Castle in the center. Castle in the center from Barles. Now, like, ideally, if you're Barles, you want to win back water so that you can actually transport and figure out if he's on the other side.
And you know how you do
still
that?
have your transport, and it's got 200 HP on it with Saracens, so just bring it over, I guess.
Honestly, use your monks on the shoreline. I guess if there's galleys, you can't do that, but you could convert fire ships at least. I like the play from Hart. Hart brought a knight over on the transport. Yep.
2 of them, actually. 2 full HP ones.
But Hart can now expand his eco, and I would like to see another TC. Fast imp is so tough on this map. I just think you've got to get 2 TCs down on one of these new islands as quickly as possible. 1 TC fast imp plays it tough.
In this game for Hart. 64% for Hart, 68% for Barles overall.
Barles is just,
it has not been clean.
Barles is just waiting for these villagers to hop out of these towers.
Yep.
And that's a smart play. But there's another town center from Hart. Full expansion possible in this area.
Knights at the back on Barles base. 3 villagers dead.
3 villagers. I'm really liking Hart's position. The only thing I don't like about Hart's position is that you don't get bombard cannons with Japanese. And their galleons aren't quite as good as the Saracens. But as you said, I think Eco can win you the game, and you could still beat the Saracens with
I just want to see Barles remember the fact that he has that transport back there. Oh, he's bringing it. He's got the villagers killed now. He's taking care of everything on the left side. Eco KD is going to be 10-9 when she goes down. And he's going to load up into this transport ship and bring it back across. Remember, 200 HP on that thing.
I think Hart's kind of... keyword here is kind of, but I think he's kind of okay with these crossbows showing up here because he's got some towers going up. I mean, a lot of these villagers need to leave, but he still has his own transport that he could just send them over.
We need docks on our home island. Like, you need some sort of water control.
Yeah.
Just something. There's no res there anymore.
I think he was very late with this TC he's building now. I think that TC could have been up like 3 minutes ago. But he's so focused, and you want to be aggressive here. I wouldn't even mind another TC from Hart. They're so far away from Imp. It feels risky when Imperial Age can change the game, but...
maybe.
Just get Vils, dude. It's so hard to finish the game. Do you remember the Hart freaking Andy game we saw on this?
Yes.
And how...
and Andy came back and
Andy
won.
held on, yeah. I just think there's so many possible holds conditions as we see the transport get sniped. But the crossbows survive.
Barles just needs something on water, dude. He just needs something on water. This home island is
bad.
Ugly. Hideous.
It's very bad.
You gotta sneak a dock up somewhere. You just have to.
Yeah,
oh, he's doing it on the middle island. Okay, here we go. Then he can buy resources, maybe, or sell, or whatever he's doing with the Saracen market for War Galley. Get some fires out, and once the fires are there, then you can start redocking on this side, or God forbid, transport these villagers away.
I mean, Saracen transport's pretty strong, so maybe that's an option, but I think he lost his transport. He's just going to use monks now to convert some of those galleys. And those vills will probably all be farmers. That's the plan. But resources are looking good for Hart, and I think Hart is realizing how quiet things are and how his opponent must be looking to fight back on water. And he will find the redocks. This is where Hart should add more navy himself so he doesn't give up this control. Finally kills the crossbows.
There is a fire that has come over towards the war galleys in the corner. So Barles might be able to clear this for the time being. So also got a monk there that could convert maybe one of these fires coming out.
Dude, look at the res collected. 100 difference.
It's so close.
So close.
Yeah, it's so close.
But the efficiency's way better for Hart right now. Like, just the 30 villagers that Barles has on that starting island is so bad for him. He's actually nearing the point where he might want to delete that TC, or actually just use that as a technology TC. Get handcart and then delete it.
Yep. I think one transport over here, just a sneaky transport, and you can load... How many with Saracens? 25 vills?
Dude, he has the transport in the dock. He has to go for a weird Mission Impossible attempt to get over there. I don't think that's going to be possible. He might need another sneak dock. Or is he luring these away?
Well, that's why they call it Mission Impossible.
Is it ever really impossible, though?
All right.
I hope the new...
come out, maybe?
I hope the new Mission Impossible is genuinely impossible, and it's like, yep, series is over now.
Well, it's going to be impossible soon, because Tom Cruise is going to die of old age eventually.
I mean, I think he's still dangling from airplanes at like 70, however old he is. But yeah, I like Hart's position here. And the transport is out, but it's not going the direction to save the villagers.
God, Barles home island. Just get it figured out, man. Oh, this is brutal.
Dude, imagine having to fight with this crap.
Oh,
and then have to go into the 7th game. You're going to be feeling horrible. All the momentum's with Hart right now.
This is what Barles needs to do. He needs to buy himself enough stone for a castle, load all the villagers from the middle into a transport ship, and castle the starting island from Hart. It's the only open area.
Actually, I like that. Because as it stands, he's just reacting, and he has no potential for offense.
He can't get across the other one.
Yep.
Because there's too much navy.
Yep. Great job from Hart to settle the nerves, and not just in this game, but in the series, being down 3-1. And he will be up against another tower from Barles in the middle there. Now, maybe Barles could dock there and think about transporting something over. And there's some
Barles
docks.
is finally transporting some crossbows over to the other side. He has no vision on anything here from Hart. He's going to get over there and be like, oh, God.
But he's on the way to Imp. Bill count's similar. He's getting some damage, and Hart is reacting for once. And I like that. I mean, that's a couple villager kills from 3 crossbows that weren't going to do anything else.
And some information.
Yeah.
Confirmed he's over there, at least 1 TC, probably more.
And it's going to be tough for both players to really sort out their production on water because they built docks in so many different locations. But Hart has 4 docks in the north, at least 5 docks in the north that he can produce from, which is really good. And he's just done the upgrade check. You could tell. Actually realizing, I don't know what your capture age looks like, but I should probably swap my capture age signs. Because Barles is fully on the left now.
I guess this is like, yeah. Guess we can do that. Dude, the overall efficiency for these villagers on Barles home island, I just selected all of them, 53%.
I mean, that's better than some of the people watching our stream on a Wednesday right now.
It's better than being dead, I guess.
Yeah, that's true. If they're getting paid by the hour, it's fine.
Oh, transport ship for Barles in the center.
Where? In the
middle,
center? Oh, that center. Okay, I was too busy looking at his villagers fight over the 3 trees.
Center of the map?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh! Castle?
Oh,
for Hart?
For a castle. Barles will see the castle.
And
Barles will back up. There's a knight there as well. This is faster Imperial Age time here from Hart, but the castle won't be up in time.
What?
So let's see if Barles can get more villagers over. He's sending another one. He's got 1 more on the way. He also has crossbows in the tower.
So much navy for Hart, though. So much navy. And it's going to get even worse for the eco of Barles. Does his castle complete?
His home island, though. I think both of them go up, right?
Yeah. But, I mean, Hart can notice that and make rams from the siege workshop. Barles doesn't seem to be noticing. Now he does. Maybe we see petards, but I'm just seeing navy freaking everywhere for Hart. He's getting fast fire now. Barles, I see some people maybe wondering, like, why doesn't he call it? Well, you want to ensure that you're absolutely dead here.
You have 100.
And
You have 100.
You've got 100.
Pop.
Yeah, you've got a good pop, and your eco is untouched on that other island, so you still feel like you've got chances.
You know how much damage you've done to the other guy. It has not been a clean game for him either.
And he just escaped with 20 villas. So finally he gets those villas off. Now you want to delete that TC. Probably. And Barles is going for petards with the castle, but now you've got Hart adding the trebs. And there's no way for Barles to get to those trebs, so I think eventually that castle falls. And then the docks just continue to get melted away by the fast fires. And now galleon tech for Hart. Whew.
What's the civ that gets siege engineers in Castle Age now? Is it Jurchens?
Wu, Wei, Shu, Catan.
No, I'm not asking you to. I'm asking to name all the new civs, bro. It's very impressive. But
I don't know.
Okay.
I
was just
can't
thinking
tell you.
petards in Castle Age with siege engineers could be hot.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, fast castle, petard, fast castle, castle drop, siege engineers, petards. You heard it here first, folks.
Yep.
It's Jurchens, okay. Yeah, I feel like that is probably one of the least OP bonuses. Having Castle Age siege engineers because of the cost of siege engineers.
Ooh, another convoy. 2 transport ships this time. Barles is evacuating his entire base. There's nothing left there.
Yeah. I like how heavy Cav Archer is 50% off for a civ, and then the civ that gets siege engineers in Castle Age, that's not 50% off.
It is actually, I think, right?
Siege
They get
engineers?
a discount.
Is it discounted?
They get a discount on all the siege
Oh,
ships.
okay. Well, how much cheaper is it?
I thought they did.
Maybe. Honestly, it would make sense if they did because it's way too
It's
expensive
75%
otherwise.
wood off
Oh, okay.
for all
Well,
siege
that's
techs.
oh, that's pretty good then.
Anyway, back to the game. We got galleons here from Hart, and we have a redock on the left side from Barles.
You remember when Hart threw that game that we talked about earlier? It was because he tried to transport and drop castles here. But he's basically realized I have to grind my opponent down with massive navy numbers and nothing else. And the cannon galleons snipe the treb. Cannon galleons are hitting the castle now. So he's made all the adjustments. I remember when he lost that game against Andy, I just kind of felt like he'd never lose a Pacific Islands game again from that position. Don't want to jinx him, but Barles is so far behind. He's going to try, though. Because his navy's superior, he will try with a lot of docks and galleon production on the other side.
Not having the castles is going to be brutal.
Look at the vills.
Castle's going to go down here. Oh, my goodness. Look at
Barles-
the military count. It's just crazy.
He sent idle villagers from, well, he selected all of his idols to go place farms somewhere, and those idols ended up being on the starting island. So he just sent a bunch to the shoreline there.
This is why you never use the select all idle villager button.
It's just delete it. Because of this one very specific map.
Just don't give it a hotkey, dude. It's useless.
I've added it, and I can never go back now. But Vinchester told me, he said he thinks it's bad to use select all hotkeys because you're not being actively present and thinking about what you're doing. And so what ends up happening is a lot of people get like super foggy brained and they aren't paying attention to details anymore. That's what Vinch told me.
Yep.
Which I think is interesting.
That's why like you have to mix up selecting all TCs and cycling through TCs so you can actually get an idea of what your eco
looks like. Yeah. I get that.
Another castle for Barles in the same spot. He just lost one. And we've got like galleon tech is in. Saracen galleons and Saracen navy in general is going to be better than the Japanese.
Is it good for Hart to be
What?
making a mix of fires and galleons, or should he just outproduce some galleons? I don't know.
I don't know, dude. I really don't.
Because
I think
if you-
you need to mix in some cannons behind for sure. If you
Yeah.
go galleons and cannon galleons, it's gonna be good, but
I mean, eventually Hart's just hoping that Barles won't be able to take wood
yeah.
and golds, and that he can, and he could just simply outlast his opponent. But I think it's working. I mean, he's collapsing on Barles on both sides of those docks. He's killed quite a few villagers on gold, and he even has some trebs that he's about to transport over. I just like to see him go for Kataparuto first. And again, even that, like, Barles has one defensive bombard cannon. That just might not work. What a day, dude. What a series.
Barles has done this before, man, where he takes the lead. He did it earlier in the tournament. Takes the lead against the favorite, and then doesn't close out, right? And this looks like it's a win for Hart at this point. I mean, the bombard cannon from Barles just went down.
Yeah, that hurts.
Transport ship coming across now from Hart, and it's 2 Trebs. So it's not the forward castle attempt. It is the Trebs backed up by the Navy.
Why are we going with 2 Trebs instead of 4?
They are on fire, though. So
yeah, true. We've got arrow slits on the way, Yasama on the way. So yeah, if anything, Hart will drop some towers. And Hart pushing mainly from the north right now with all of his navy. But the galleon mass is getting pretty significant for Barles, and he also will have heavy demos in front. I think it's got to be pure galleon if heavy demos possible.
Yep, you can actually see the fire rate in this battle. The cannon galleons are super nice for Hart, though. As soon as cannon galleons got that splash damage buff, it's always good to add them in behind the Navy if you can keep up the galleons in front of them as a meat shield, and it looks like Hart can. So Barles is going to have to back away from this.
Again, it's uncomfortable for a player like Hart to not try and transition to land. But that is potentially a way you throw the game from here. If one bombard cannon can defend from any big push. So you just have to be patient.
Now. He's sending the Vills now. Might be for towers, though. You never know.
He took down one of the docks.
Loaded in the transport ship.
He's going to take another dock. I think Barles is about to transport away to maybe get some wood, which you can get on the amphibious terrain. But Hart wants to take this to the 7th game here, man.
Barles is like waiting for the opportunity.
Yeah, true.
But
true.
I don't think Hart's going to give it to him.
I want to see Hart maybe build a couple towers on that starting island. But he doesn't know.
He's looping around.
He doesn't know what's there.
He's going to kill another bombard cannon from Barles. He's really struggling to keep track of this. He doesn't kill it. The demos come in. Decent. Not great. Decent.
Certainly not the demo hits that Andy had on Hart in the game we keep referencing. No. That was insane. I think Barles slowly coming to the conclusion. This will go to the 7th game. He only has 3 docks in this position now. So he'll always be outproduced. And surely we're going to see the GG in a moment. Hart just got so much more in queue. And he has the cannon galleons. Desperation castle from Barles on the shoreline there to try and cut off the reinforcements, but that gets stopped. And he's losing the other fight. 10 ships now for Barles. With all of his vills on trees behind this. And a monk hanging out.
I feel like we should play the Jeopardy music or something. Like, what are we waiting for here?
We're waiting for the GG.
What is the GG? There we are. 3-3 and the GG, and it's game 7, baby.
Sick.
It's game 7.
Yeah, dude, I said it and I meant it. I was just thinking, like, with these maps, with the civs we heard, with the quality that Hart has, wouldn't have surprised me if we ended up getting that 7th game. And now Hart's got all the momentum. And he also got the feeling of control there. That's a weird thing. I say it a lot. I should probably ask more players about it, but I can't be convinced that having that extra 20 minutes in this game where you were just destroying your opponent doesn't help your confidence somewhat, you know?
Yeah, then, I mean, it helps until you lose your first unit on the next game.
Yeah.
You run into the TC with your scout, and then there's no control whatsoever.
And Barles was just struggling so massively, it felt like. And I think the key for me, Barles got the kills. Barles did a lot with a little, but he needed more eco. He was super late to town centers on his on that left island there, and that's what Hart won the game with, essentially. And here we are. Winner moves in to face Leary in the quarterfinals. It's been an amazing series. Hart in the red, Barles in the blue. And we got Brookside Battlegrounds and Georgians versus Lithuanians. So 2 areas where the players are expected to dock. And this is the brook, I suppose, that eventually connects to the other. But you can sometimes see a dock way over in the on the other side. That's kind of interesting about this generation is you've got the gold on the right side long term and then the stone on the left. You can't forget about that.
Yeah, there's not a lot of like it's weird how the stone is spawned too. Usually it's on the other side of the brook
water.
or whatever.
Yep.
Yeah, but this one's kind of on both. It's a little pimply, this stone area over here.
I mean, that could change a decent amount because players are going to expand their town centers that direction naturally.
Yeah, it's not all condensed in one area anymore.
Yeah. I mean, both unique units are absolutely insane, Manaspa and Latus, so stone's certainly going to be helpful for that. But as you said, I think Lithuanian's probably the pick for Hart because he can get the villagers on wood a little bit earlier. Actually, I think the dock timings will be the same because one person gets
Georgians can get it. Yeah, Georgians can get it really early too.
Yeah. You've got 6 shorefish here. I could have sworn it was 8 in an earlier game. I think someone had 8 earlier.
It does change. It's not always consistent with the amount, so it's anywhere from like 1,200 to like 1,400, I think.
Okay.
So you can get an extra one, I believe. At least I've seen it before. Might be, always 1,400, but there's always 1,800 over on the other one.
Just realizing now how little gold you actually have to work with on this.
Oh yeah, there's not a lot. There's not a lot at all. No.
So, I mean, both players are going to have to expand the same direction, and they should recognize that. But what's weird about it is, unless they just randomly scout extra stones or golds, they don't actually know where they need to go long term. I guess in the case of Hart, he could see some stone on the left, and so now that should tell him that the gold is on the right. But Barles, yeah, same deal. Stone on the left, could assume that he needs to move to the right. But even on the right, like, Barles doesn't have space, dude. There's not a lot of gold for him to get nearby, and there's not a lot of flat ground for TCs compared to Hart.
Mm-hmm.
Like, normally you want more wood there. So weird. Super weird. But relatively passive opening, players are going to push in their deer because they assume what the opponent's going to do here. I would assume it's going to be scouts from both, but maybe Hart doesn't want to do that against the Georgians. And I see the villager moving from his dock to probably build a forward dock over at the water area for Barles. Both players know that the other one's going to dock, so it's not a bad build.
Yeah, the one thing against Barles, like, you got to disrupt the fishing because he might try something really weird with the fish where he like goes for a super fish boom or something like that. While you're busy on land, he's just going to keep taking advantage of the fact you're not on water. So I think contesting this early is nice from Hart. Just stylistically against Barles, like, he's going to like this map because it's a mix of water and land.
It's funny, I think he's going to bring his own bill.
If you disrupt that water, then you're fine.
I could be wrong, but with the fact that Barles is on gold, I was kind of expecting him. Well, never mind. He sees this now, and it's actually pretty convenient he's on gold because he can make defensive fires if he needs to.
Oh,
so no
a little
big
bit later, but it's fine.
My Hart is never, ever, ever going to leave this villager unprotected. Gets a couple extra hits. That's enough where the Georgian scout can eventually heal up. Get that HP back, but that'll take some time. And expect a spearman from Barles, from the barracks. And still no barracks for Hart, actually. So he's really committing to the water right now.
God, I would hate playing this map. It's just so open. Like, it's so hard to defend yourself early. If they go for land prep, look at the TCs. Like, the TC from Hart at least looks a little secure with the house wall and whatever. But from Barles, yuck.
I think there's also enough reason to wall where you're going to do it and try and cut corners and not make army. But there's so much to wall that you're going to screw it up once, and it's going to be a disaster.
Yep. Yeah, like walling between the stones. People have tried that plenty of times. And it usually the other person just walks around.
Yeah.
All the way around and then hits you where you're not expecting it, right?
You need to have
fire galley
and walls. Yeah. It has to be both.
Ooh, Spearman coming over from Barles. Spearman and Scout over on this side.
I don't know if
Barles
that's enough.
is going to distract. the villager. Well, he does damage against the fire, and it's not enough. It's not enough. Dang.
That was still really well played from Hart. Give him credit.
Yep.
And for Hart, even if he doesn't kill the fish here, he's still forcing his opponent to invest just as much into this. So that in and of itself is kind of a win. He's got another fire galley in queue, and then he's got a demo. Barles has a demo in queue right now. So we really can't look away from this. But
I'm looking away.
I am too. I'm looking at the scout. If Barles can even get this Vil, it might mean he wins the water. He needs to get that villager for no repairs. And there's the other fire. I don't think he's getting that Vil. It's a weird one, but this could end up being good for Hart.
Yeah, that's good for Hart. He couldn't decide, and he ended up just doing damage against one of the fire galleys. They're both doing a pretty good job over here, but the demo only really damaging one fire galley is not ideal on such a closed-off area like this. But where did that archer come from? From Barles. The villager is going to go down. Oof. Nice demo from Hart, though, and the fishing ships are being cleared, and Hart still has fish. Uncontested at home.
Hart will take that trade. Hart will take the trade. He'll also take this archer if he can. I don't think he can unless he really has crazy micro. Oh, he
does
gets
have crazy micro.
And Hart in the 7th game looking pretty good. The only thing that's a concern for him is he was late with the land army. So he'll go for the range. But, I mean, he knows it's archers. He has that information, and it's not a large group of archers with upgrades. I think he might have some time to get skirmishers out.
God, what an annoying situation here for Hart if he's trying to clear Barles off water. If Barles keeps pulling this fire galley back to this area, there's so many areas there that the dock can tank damage, and he can actually sail around it.
Yeah.
On the other side as well.
The thing is, though,
just repair over there.
The only other area that Barles can fish is on the other side of the map. So even just maintaining control here, you're happy. Because you know those fishing ships are doing nothing, basically.
Ooh, that villager's getting cooked. It's getting cooked. He's crispy.
Yeah,
he's running away.
Super crispy. Runs over to the berries. More archers for Barles being produced at home. Hart finds those archers there. And there will be... This is Lithuanian skirms. So these are speedy skirms. This is enough to defend, most likely. I kind of like the market from Barles because fletching isn't going to help him right now. The archer play is completely dead. But I wouldn't mind him going scouts or something. Like, he needs to... I don't know if you could just rush to Castellate with no army right now. I'd love to see Hart... I think it's risky, but I'd love to see him consider 2 Vils building a dock on the left side. That's a lot of fish right there. But I guess when you already have the lead, why take that risk?
Yeah, one spearman can lock that down. It's just not great, right? It's a big investment. Barles is still fishing. It's long distance.
It's long distance.
But he's still fishing.
It's something.
He just dropped off a little bit of food. And his resources are actually looking decent. But, I mean, Hart's going to get there naturally without the market.
I love this.
With a much better eco.
Like, Hart's instincts are spot on against the majority of players. He goes, I can't move out with my skirms because he'll add scouts as Georgians. I need to have spears. And I need to wall fast. And Barles, meanwhile, is not doing any of that.
Barles is like, walls.
Barles just clicks up the castle, I mean. And now you can still add the stable. So that's really good for Barles. And that's a way to get an edge here. Get to the second TC faster. I still feel like the expansion for Barles is so tough now. And it's even tougher now that he's lost water, dude.
Water control. Yeah,
like,
it's horrible.
There's not, I'm sorry, but like, it's not a bug. And Hart has earned this position. But I can't be convinced that this isn't way more difficult for Barles to expand to extra gold when compared to Hart. Like, there's a crazy difference there in terms of accessible land. And I would just be kind of running out of ideas the longer the game goes if you lose the middle then. Because those, at least the 4 tiles of gold is there and you can control the middle of the map. But it's a problem long-term for Barles. He will need to sort that out. Archer and Spearman here on the left. Bit of an attack, which will frustrate Hart because I think he moved out of position with the skirms. And now he will find scouts on the front with his skirms. So some good moments for Barles, especially if the spearman's not in position for Hart. Looks like it will be.
And he sent the weak villagers out again, Hart. He's done this so many times. It's just a reflex.
Yeah. And again, he actually saves them.
Can't clear it up. Yeah,
So-
he saved so many this set, dude. So many weak villagers at the last second. Barles bringing the scouts out. There's a spearman there, though, and Hart will see the archers now from Barles. See the scout numbers, and he has to assume that Barles is up to Castle Age. Just such low numbers. He hasn't really been attacked, right? So Castle Age comes in. He gets Castle Age himself, and then Light Cav following up from Barles. Second town center as well, as he continues to lose buildings to these fires.
Yeah.
Very annoying.
Very annoying. He could lose the market as well. But by then, maybe he could send some knights over. So this is almost arena style now for Barles, where he'll just go Light Cav and add TCs. But again, I'm going to bring it up like 6 or 7 more times, guys, so don't get tired of it. The gold. That is a crazy concern for him right now.
I don't think it's as bad as you think it is.
What? Yes, it
like,
is.
I don't
Like
I
right
don't
now,
know.
now it's not. But late Castle Age, dude, is hard.
Yeah, but late Castle Age, you're gonna have stone for a castle. You can log it down. You could go for a castle in between those 2 golds in the center.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. I think a big thing for Barles is you have Light Cav, you have archers. You got to keep them together, but I guess he wanted to raid. And so an army that could have been protected by those Light Cav just kind of gets cleaned up. Nice job from Hart with the elite skirms there. And he'll go for Cav archers as well. And now he finds the Light Cav from Barles on the right. Already a TC up for Hart. You see that sheep for Barles on the right? Is that intentional?
Yep. The one on the hill?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe he likes the view.
Well, it's just near the golds, you know? That's the only reason I bring it up.
I don't think he's strategically placing sheep.
Okay.
Because like sheep can be found by a random unit, right? Doesn't really tell you anything.
We have to go back and find out what was happening with that sheep.
Yeah.
Barles trying to be sneaky and get a dock on the left side, but Hart already had a fire camping there.
Yeah, that was good. That was intentional from Hart.
Yeah. And Barles...
Still 3 TC for Barles. Only 2 TCs here for Hart as Barles tries to get the first fortified church down. Start boosting his eco and defending his villagers, and he's going to commit to that. So
Dude.
Hart can't really push in there. There's another TC blocking the other way. Skirmishers now from Barles.
I just feel like Barles needs the market to keep his eco flying smoothly, and he's about to lose it to the fires at the worst possible time.
Oh, true.
Like,
Yeah,
that is
not good.
painful. I would have never thought that losing water would snowball this hard on him. And he didn't even lose the fish. They've been inefficient, but still. But you could just use a couple knights there. Like, those are some weak fires. So the fact that Barles is just full booming with basically no army is kind of the issue.
And he also lost his crossbows that went forward, right? Because they weren't together with the Light Cav.
And the Light Cav,
Then
too.
he sends the Light Cav into hard space. Could still snipe a weak villager there, but not really a lot of potential for this guy. He's distracting Hart somewhat.
Yeah. Where's Hart
And he
going?
might kill a villager, but that's about it.
4 villagers walking through the middle of the map. I don't know if they were misclicked. If he wanted a
That
siege
might
push, he would have
be-
gone for... He would have left one there.
Honestly, I have no idea what they were doing. Maybe looking for gold or something?
I think he wanted them to build that TC he just completed, clicked them forward by mistake, and realized, and then finished the TC with other builds.
Maybe.
So I think he's coming home now.
Either way, handcart's in already. So they're going to be quick. First relic coming in for Hart with Lithuanians. That's going to be real nice. And he should be able to get at least like 2 more pretty safely. I think.
Elite skirms on the field now for Barles, and Hart's looking elsewhere, loses all of his cav archers on the front. And he doesn't have any armor as well, and Hart's losing that army, I think, looking on the left side.
Yeah, he's looking on the left side.
Yeah.
Because Barles was trying to get a dock there. And he lost the villager in the night.
In the end, I
The
think
market is
Barles
still
will take that
cooking,
trade.
dude. Market is still cooking. It hasn't gone down yet. But it's going to be annoying, and Barles might show up at the exact right moment with a monk here to try and convert those fires and get back on there. Barles' eco is, in terms of res collected, he is ahead right now.
Yep.
He's got the fortified churches boosting. He's got one over on the right, one in the middle, one on the left as well. That protects his eco a little bit more too. And Hart, well, Hart's got an eco upgrade advantage. Wheelbarrow and handcart already being in.
Is the recognition gonna be there that the stone's on the left, that gold is on the right, and you need to get there soon? We're down to 600 gold remaining for Barles with what he can see. And the only other golds he can see are in the middle or on the right across the brook.
And there goes the market instead.
And also a couple Cav Archers there for Hart. Cav Archer feels like a good mid-Castle Age play with Lithuanians, but especially with how many you've been losing, you probably need to switch into something else.
Maybe.
And if you're getting this many relics and your opponent has skirms, perfect situation for Knights. Or Latus long term.
4th TC for Hart.
I like that, especially on the fact that it's on stone. And I also like that he's made an additional monastery to grab this relic as quickly as possible. Hart's done a great job knowing where those relics are.
Doubt's game against Mihai. Mihai was going Cav Archers, and Doubt was just booming with Lithuanians, and he got up to like 6 TCs, and there was literally nothing Mihai could do about it. It was just disgusting. Like, he had like 6 town centers, 6 castles, all in a line across the map.
Hart's monk wanted to get the one relic. Hart won't get that. But you remember the sheep conversation? Now I'm seeing a light cav accompanying the sheep.
And now it's leaving.
It is leaving. But that's a lot of gold that Hart doesn't see. He has not scouted that, really. And we have a castle, a really interesting castle from Barles on the left.
What?
Look at that.
Is he planning?
That's from Manaspa.
That tells me he's... I think he might be planning a big old, like, fortified wall to the edge of the map with the castle like that, dude.
That's crazy how it's not even in front of the TC where the stones are. And Light Cav
That's wild.
died for Barles. Cav Archer raid here from Hart. Skirms are kind of out of position right now for Barles. They're over on the left protecting the castle.
Yeah, but Hart just lost 3 Cav Archers and a lot of HP on that area. So, like, a couple skirms back here can deal with this.
Hart 4 relics, and he's starting to make knights now. Barles needs to have his own knights, or Manaspa, or monks. But just skirmishers isn't going to cut it here.
Hey, as soon as that castle went up, it killed a knight.
Okay.
So, you laughed at the castle, but...
Well, you know, I
was laughing now.
I wasn't laughing at the castle's potential. I was laughing at the castle's current state.
Oh.
Plenty of potential.
Sounds like my teachers said about me.
Yeah, I was just going to say that's exactly what our high school teachers said about us. Knights from Hart. I mean, they stopped the wall off from Barles, which is enough to force a pretty big reaction. And he seems pretty relaxed for someone in such a crazy situation here.
He does, doesn't he? Like, no military production, 0 gold.
And what I mean by that is, he went for the stables, and now no upgrades. He's like, I've done enough damage. I'm fine now.
I think that castle might tell us exactly what Barles' strategy is going to be here. He wants to secure stone so he can go for towers.
Dude, look at the gold situation for Barles. Oh god, the Cav Archers. The Cav Archers are feasting, and Hart sees it, and Barles dropped the tower foundation in pain, dude. Nothing but pain. Where are they going?
And he goes back to it.
Where are we going?
Well, I don't know.
What's happening? What's happening?
I don't know.
I mean, I guess they were told to build a tower, and then he was bringing some skirms over. Both are on the way to imp. Hart gains a 20 villager lead, and now Hart should know focus there.
Like,
Barles is no gold. No gold.
Yeah, my problem is, like, he knew this was going to be an issue. Why didn't he do anything about it earlier?
Yeah, I think there was opportunity.
What fortified church over there? It's fine.
So here's, like, my thinking is, demo's on the way. Oh no! Oh god, what a tease. I guess he's going to tower his way back to that gold.
Yeah, he's towering his way back into the game, dude. He's trying to tower his way back into the set right now. And I've seen it happen before. Barles is a menace with towers. An absolute menace. And if Hart wants to stop this, he is going to have to play aggressive and patient at the same time.
Mm-hmm. I think if
like
Hart
he's going to have to have a massive trebs that it slowly rolls around dealing with these.
I think if Hart just switches sides constantly with cav raids, I wouldn't even mind Hussar. Just Hussar raids on both sides, keeping Barles guessing, he could be in a good position. But I'd love to see Barles, if he only found that gold in the very north, that 2,400 gold would help him afford so much here.
Von Towers is on the way in.
He's gonna
It's
need...
only good once you have multiple towers within range of each other, though. One tower isn't going to do too much. You need more.
It's still baffling to me because, like, Hart, the only gold he's really taking is in the middle. But he sees all the gold on the right, so he will almost certainly take all that. And Barles is going to need military, dude. Murder Holes is flying in. Might not be in time. And Barles knows he's up against Cav with +4 attack because it's Lithuanians with those relics. And he's going to try and go pikes, I suppose. But it just seems desperate and kind of sad. He's struggling right now.
Listen, don't say the towers are sad. Just wait until he's been actually defeated before saying that.
If he had like 20 on stone, I could get a lot more excited about the towers. He needs to get more eco over there.
Once he gets the towers up, he'll get more eco over there. He's got 14 on stone now. There's another tower going up on the left side.
All right, little bit of expansion onto some gold on the right. Maybe we'll see a TC there soon. Hart going for Elite Latus. Only 2 castles for him. They'd like to see more than that if he's going for Elite Latus, but... Hart's, he's losing these Latus for the time being on the left side, but you can always make more. Love
Nice
this
quick
wall.
Walls there from Barles. Nice quick walls from Barles. Perfect.
Yeah. Should have pikes around. Surprised we haven't seen chemistry yet for Hart. I think he's getting a little excited, thinking he can finish the game without gunpowder.
Ram.
All right.
Okay.
The smoke behind the shot from the tower is kind of interesting. I don't know if that's normal or what, but...
No, that's normal. That's normal with spawn towers once you get chemistry.
Yeah, it's very jarring, actually.
You haven't seen it before?
I mean, I never really paid attention to towers this much. The only reason I'm doing it is because Barles has nothing else.
You just wait, dude. Just wait.
I remember a couple BF games where it was pretty ridiculous, but... I mean, the population's even, dude.
Mm-hmm.
It is
and Halb
even.
is about to kick. 20 seconds. The Halbs are coming in on the left side. We got the wall over on the right. Another tower going up over there. More Halbs on that side too. And the thing about just spamming and latest and stuff like that, like eventually you're going to run out of gold. Whereas if you don't kill the towers early and Barles keeps these alive, it's going to get harder and harder for you to raid. Big demo on the left.
Decent.
Close.
And Hart, I think, felt like he could win this game with Latus. Like a lot of people, when they get 4 relics with Lithuanians, they just go crazy with the Latus. But he needs gunpowder, and he's going to start to mix it in now. Looks like he's going to produce on the left. So still a really solid focus on the left. And then he's denied the wall from Barles on the right multiple times. And that's still the area where Barles needs to get more on gold. But what can Barles do once hand cannons are here? Not a whole lot at the moment. Could go for skirms. Could just play full trash, I suppose. He's done good damage. You can tell it's been a long series. The fact that this is getting so sloppy.
Did you see that on the left, dude? He deleted the foundation of the tower as the Treb shot it. He dodged under the tower bolt and then put it 1 tile further forward. he out microed the Treb with his tower foundation.
Treb's on the right side now. Hart might need some ranges over here. Because he does not have any gunpowder production. I see a range foundation go down.
Uh-oh. Tower's up on the water over there. This is like the Lord of the Rings Theoden meme, like, so it begins.
But like,
You wouldn't know that, but
yeah, I mean, I'm aware of Lord of the Rings references, but I really think if Hart just went Hussar, he would have accomplished the same this game.
maybe.
Right? Like, he's still losing the latest. You could still get raids. If anything, you could be a little bit more risky. Bank up the gold for later on. Barles has done a great job of making this kind of difficult to push. But at the same time, I don't see the win condition for Barles when he doesn't have the sides truly locked down. And the latest raids on the right, killing his gold villagers.
Yeah, he's like starting to lock down the one on the left, but the one on the right is just a problem.
Yeah.
It's a huge problem, right? There's gold out there. There's still a gold in front of his base that he could take. That he either hasn't noticed or he refuses to go out there.
He will see some gold in the north now. Which I can't help but feel like if he saw that a little bit earlier, he might have been able to get more techs in, get more trash techs, go for Hussar himself.
Treb's on the right, not good from Hart. Very sloppy.
I think he misclicked. He meant to click the
Those guys
tower,
in. Yeah,
and he probably
100%.
clicked right next to it. And all right, so Barles reclaims that. Hart actually isn't aware that gold's in the north, so the latest looping in behind there will miss that. But Hart's reclaiming the left, and it's full gunpowder for Hart on the left. Or not full, but a lot of it. And Barles needs something more in these towers. I see your point, by the way. The towers seem really strong, but in combination with army is what's needed here.
Watch the skirms against the towers.
I saw the sheep. Sheep's down. Bombard cannon's down. Tower's down, though. And more army coming in from Hart on the right. Barles tracking most of the latest with the halbs, though. The latest have not been enough for Hart. God, that TC in the north finally can maybe get a gold fully saturated for once. And then if he can use that gold, I think to push the right. Hart?
Yeah, maybe.
Like, that's where Hart's got 22 villagers. That's actually the most important. At least, I mean, he's still taking some stone on the left.
The idea from Barles is you want to secure the stone first so that you can push the gold second.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So that's where he wants to set up all of his towers on the other side. He just needs to make sure he's constantly sniping the siege, and he still doesn't even have the final armor upgrade on the light cap. Fortunately, he does have blast furnace though, so he can come in here and snipe these bombard cannons. Does he get this one? The latest are super strong. Does he get it? It's so close. He doesn't get it.
Armor upgrade would have probably made the difference there. And tower on tower on tower on halb on halb and halb. Do or die. Love the wall from Barles. Like, I actually think Hart needs to wall, but no! The wall isn't completed!
Love the wall from Barles!
No!
Oh my god, chat, 11 latest just ran right through the wall that T90 loves. Along the edge of the map, there is a hole.
I assumed it was completed.
Our situation room is reporting that there is a hole, but it doesn't matter because the spawn towers are eating those latest anyway as they go right through here.
Yeah, latest going through. But Barles has to react to that. Barles now has his gate getting trebbed down. There will be hand cannons there. Barles still just running into gunpowder and skirms, and now Hart's going to take a hill on the left. That gives him a good position to treb from. I wish I knew how many kills Barles had from things other than towers in this game. It might be under 100.
I mean, at this point, if you're Hart, just start going for your own towers, dude. You got 2,400 stone.
True.
Go for bombard towers.
Again, I really like the Hussar tech just because the only thing the latest are accomplishing in with the raids is Vil kills. So they're dying or they're getting occasional Vil kills. But I guess if you have this much gold, you don't really need to worry about spending so much of it.
Ooh, Barles doesn't have architecture. That's a problem. There's a demo here from Hart. Oh, never mind.
God. Wasted on one unit.
Yeah, Barles just needs to make sure he's constantly sniping these trebs. He has lost so many towers so far. Another demo comes out from Hart. That's going to be a good one. And it is.
Right side. That's where Barles has to reclaim. Like you said, though, he's like using the left side to set up a push on the right side. But it really feels difficult for him to make any progress here. Let's see if Hart can quick wall in this trebuchet here.
I do like the fact he's not going to be able to, but he might be able to body block with the villagers.
Oh, he's repairing it.
Exactly what he's doing.
That's sick.
I do like the fact that Barles is slowly queuing up Trebs in the castle.
Yep. Just waiting for his moment.
Not letting them out one by one. Yeah, he probably wants 3 or 4. And then when he feels like he can push this back, when all the techs are in and everything, that's the moment for him.
And I guess Manaspa are kind of out of the window if you only have one castle. So just thinking through the gold options you have with the Georgians, you could go for your own hand cannons. You could try cav archers. All of that's tough against the skirms, though. So it's probably just Trebs for gold units for him. God, dude, these towers are nuts.
No, they're crazy. Like Do you see what I mean?
2 towers there. That's it.
Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, I see it. If only he would have been able to TC the right side a little bit earlier this game. Because
they were guard towers. They didn't even realize they were guard towers. They didn't even keep. Oh my goodness.
Has this been the low-key the most broken thing about Georgians? I know people talk about
100%,
it, but like
100%. At
this point, this is maybe the thing that makes this Civ ridiculous. I don't know, dude. I'm not seeing enough
Barles put
towers.
himself into a bad position. He can't like, and to be fair to Hart, like Hart is playing this the way he probably should. He just keeps raiding over and over and over again. He's got the castle up over there. He's taking out the towers one by one. Like, how many freaking towers has he taken out already? 20?
He's taken a lot. Yep, and the clock keeps
Trebs,
ticking.
though, from Barles.
This is the last chance for Barles. If he can clear this up, if he can take out those Trebs, if he can push this castle, he can maybe start to breathe a little bit. He's still taking gold. He's probably running out in the north and on the right side, but he's still building more towers and reclaiming that. And the one thing Hart lacks in his composition is Halb himself. He's now going to do that.
Barles lost a lot of villagers to raids, though. Looking on the right side where those latest were.
Oh, just like 1 or 2 areas where there weren't towers, and the latest destroy. Yeah. 11
kills. Now the latest are coming out for the Trebs. Will they be able to get them? It's so close. He gets another one. 2 Trebs dead.
I think Hart's got enough Trebs to maybe take out those Trebs. And again, still skirms in the mix. Latest diving in.
Rams.
These are so expensive to replace for Barles. Rams should honestly go for the Trebs, maybe. And the final Trebs being repaired for Barles. And he's keeping it alive.
Just repairing that castle. There's no one repairing that castle for Hart.
Dude, look how many vills have died, though. He's down to 90 villagers. The latest were
140
everywhere.
140 eco kills.
There's even latest in the north. Hart's in like 6 different spots with the raids, but he'll actually keep his castle up.
The Treb died.
Wow.
There's still 2 Trebs in the castle from Barles, if he notices that, but the latest are just killing everything.
You gotta feel for Barles. He was up 3-1. He's had such a good tournament again. It felt like this was his time to maybe get into that top 8. But also crazy from Hart. 3 straight games he lost. He needed to win
after
3
that
straight.
Skukuza game too,
yeah,
which was very demoralizing.
Yeah, there were moments where, like we said, like you could get tilted and they could just get away from you.
But dude, don't listen. I'm telling you, I've seen this dance before. It's probably 95% Hart victory. It ain't over yet. Okay. I've seen this one before. Nikov's in a dark room somewhere, like cradled up, going, "Not the towers, not again, please no."
I don't know, dude. I don't see a queue for Barles right now. He's got 4 Halbs in queue, 1 Cav Archer in queue with barely any resources banked. Ironically, the only resource he has over 1,000 with is gold now, which we know he's not going to have for very long. And more towers fall, another castle from Hart, and more focus from Hart on the right side. This is where I'm wondering how much gold Hart actually has available, but it looks like there's a decent amount on the right side still.
Yeah, and he's got the 4 relics too. Right?
Yeah. Yeah, and like with trash, Lithuanians is superior.
Like there's that gold in front of Barles' base that no one has touched.
Yeah. It's like
I
the
wonder if he
forbidden
just can't
gold.
see that. Yeah.
Well, you don't want to send
way.
vills there because you just lost all your farmers behind the rocks. So
Well, I know, but he could have sent them there 25 minutes ago.
yeah,
with
agreed.
the tower.
Agreed. Honestly, the expansion he did with the castle on the left, if he castled the right and then used army for the left, this could have gone a bit differently for him.
Maybe. Nice setup from Hart on that hill. Gonna be able to take out the tower. And I love how he goes after the towers first and then the castle.
Yeah,
He's
true.
Like,
priorities.
Get this out of here. Yeah,
Get
priorities.
your priorities straight. I also like the Hussar tech. It is reaching that point where maybe you just need to spam Hussars because it's expensive to go for the latest. There's a couple towers there from Barles that are right next to the rocks where the Vil bodies are on the left. Where latest have been going through. All the latest
have been going through. I've been watching them.
Yeah.
They've just been going through there the entire time.
It's because Hart's got all his castles on the same control group, I guess.
Yep.
Last stand for Barles, I would say, on the left side. That's a lot of halbs from Hart. And I don't know if Hart will want to engage into the castle fire. He might wait. Hope he takes his castle out. Repairs for Barles now. It's a lot of Treb fire from Hart, though. And the castle's gonna fall, and then Hart can take the engagement. Down goes the castle. And Hart also ramming on the right side. He's a bunch of latest waiting to raid there, too. I think this is where Barles runs out of steam.
Yep. The towers have been the only thing keeping him in this. And at this point, Hart has found an area to push without many towers.
Yep.
And Hart is kind of drained Barles of all the stone that he once had.
Yeah, and the only gold remaining is the two little pathetic tiles in the north. Less than 1,000 gold remaining there. And at this stage, with the gold, what do you even do? I don't know. You make trebs.
No, you buy stone.
Or you buy stone. And he can't make
towers.
He doesn't have a castle, so he can't even make trebs anymore. Castle.
It's over.
Yeah, I think Barles is dejected.
Dude, that's a heartbreaker for Barles. Well, not a heartbreaker. It's a technically, but still. Oh, boy, man, that's rough. You were up 3-1. Oh god.
And not the first time. I'm trying to think of results.
No.
Not the first time I've seen this happen to Barles.
This has happened many times.
And not the first time I've seen the opposite, where Hart turns it around as well.
Yep.
There's a couple results in my mind where he's done this, and whether it was in qualifying for a big event or maybe it was at this stage, it's just that one extra game. How many times we see it that decides a set at this level. I love my favorite thing about Hart's performance over the last two games is the patience that he's utilized when he needed it, because he would have leads, and against lesser players, or I guess in other instances, he would maybe try and force the issue, and he would throw. And he just said, nope, no, I gotta take it slow. I can't rush everything into these towers. I can't be too aggressive here. In the previous game on water, 200. Barles has lost 216 villagers.
216 vills, yeah.
Wow.
216 vills. Like, and the weird, like, the thing is here, if it was Hussar raiding him, I think he wouldn't have lost that many. So you kept saying Hussar, but I think the towers would have cleared the Hussar way faster than the latest.
Yeah.
The latest have 150 HP, and the most of the vills he lost was with the random groups of 2 or 3. Where there was only like one tower attacking them.
Just Barles never got into a state where he had any offensive game plan.
No.
It was only defense.
He was trying
towers.
to work towards that. Yeah.
Yeah.
He was maybe like a minute away from pushing on the left side. But constantly Hart was over there.
Hart needs to be careful here. He's shifting over to take care of these towers, which have 47 kills. Now Hart will just take the fight, clear the fight, and the GG's called, and Hart doesn't.
Damn, dude.
Wow.
What a comeback. Holy cow.
Sick, dude. That's amazing. He'll be up against Leary in the quarterfinals, and I think that'll be a tough task for him just because of how well prepped Leary typically is for his style. They're pretty much the same player. Leary may be a slight step up, but great comeback. Bummed for Barles. Love to see that from Hart, dude. It takes a lot of mental fortitude to be able to turn a series around like that, especially with how frustrating some of those losses were.
Yep. The immersion loss immediately followed by the Skukuza loss, like just really brutal, right? The way it happened. You couldn't find any gold on immersion. and you lost against Navy, and then the next game you just get everything wiped and you're sitting back with 21 villas. You can't make a villager from your TC, and it snowballs from there. And then the 3 wins in a row are just super impressive.
And
this one stayed patient, kept pressuring on both sides, got the job done, did not let the towers get set up more than like 4 or 5 in one place.
Yeah. The opening was amazing as well, I have to say. He did so much damage with that, and him winning the water there contributed to the whole gold conversation we continued to have, because it was that much more difficult for Barles to take any control of this right-hand side. Again, was there a lot of gold available there? No. Did Barles prioritize it? Not really. And maybe would have liked to see that castle more over towards the right-hand side instead of the left. But GG, that's it for Barles. Hart moves on. And after this, we have our quarterfinals, man. And in many ways, it was kind of what people might have predicted. When they saw the round of 12 matchups. I'm going to remind myself of what all those matchups are now. But should be more great best of sevens over the next 2 days before we eventually have the semis and the finals. And we've got, I don't know the exact order. Maybe Liquipedia will tell us. But the quarterfinals are, spoilers everybody, Hera versus Vinchester, Tata versus Sito, Viper versus Yo, and then Leary versus Hart. So I think all the favorites won in the round of 12, unless you considered ACCM a favorite over Vinchester.
That one's close, yeah. But other than that, I think all the favorites won, yeah.
Yeah.
Still, like Hera Vinch, hopefully Vinch can take a few games and see how it goes from there. You know, against Hera, it's always going to be tough. To Tato Sito, that's going to be a tough one for both of them. I think the
it'll be really close.
There, it's going to be close. Viper Yo, I mean, the banger set, right? The classic.
Yeah.
I think Viper's had Yo's number the last few years. But for a while there, Yo was kicking Viper's ass, to be fair. So
True.
Maybe he can bring it back again. And then Leary versus Hart. I don't think Hart's ever won a set against Leary.
Never?
No, he has won 2, apparently.
Okay.
He won one at Nilly's Apartment Cup on the group stage.
Okay.
And then he won a round robin show match. They actually haven't. They've only played King of the Desert and Noble Apartment Cup.
That's it.
That and like Nilly's Apartment Cup, and then one show match. That's it.
The crazy thing about Hart is like Hart still hasn't hit since he came back. It hasn't actually been that long, dude. He just like catapulted back into the top 10 so fast. But
like
Hart,
2 years, I guess. Yeah.
I don't know exactly how long it's been. Maybe it's been 3, but it's not like Hart's been playing on DE since DE came out, like most of these guys. So I think with Hart and Leary, they probably played like 100 plus, 500 plus, 1,000 plus practice games against each other. They're, I don't think that's widely discussed, but they are usually playing a lot. And then they're usually training or incorporating some conversation with Hera. So like those 3, I think, have elevated each other's level a lot. So really happy for Hart. Obviously bummed for Barles. You always are when someone loses after going up 3-1, but that's just how it goes, man. So
it's how the cookie crumbles.
How the cookie crumbles, exactly. But thanks for the cast, dude. I had a good time. It especially helped after still recovering from being sick. So
yeah, it was a long one too.
Yeah,
like after the first one as well. It's been what, 7.5 hours?
Yeah, it's been a day. Cool. But we'll link up for more casts, obviously. So
okay,
cool, dude.
See you later, dude.
See you, man.
You're feeling better.
Take care.
Peace.